As the days wore on, they became almost routine in their lunacy. I must confess that I too began to view this ritualistic, nocturnal lifestyle as normal. At times, it even seemed fun, especially when Lazarus would loosen up a little and host what he called Barbeque Night tactical grape soda learning games.
On my call. Here we go. Hup. Good boy. Yeah, fuck him. You dying anyway. Yeah. All right, hotshot. Oh, yeah. Oh, look at you. Fucked up again. No 45-degree angle.
Why is the reasoning for this extensive training for them?
Well, come on, man. You know we about to be a police state. I want my boys to be able to retaliate, organize.
And who exactly are they fighting against?
One another. For my affection.
Sega. Hey, how do you do? I'm Lou Laws, and I've been waiting for you. Listen, I want to show you my new living room. It is so cool. You're gonna really dig it. Come on, let's check it out. This is it. Welcome to the next living room. It's what's happening, buddy. Check it out. Hey, it's cool, it's hot, it's today, but it's unplugged. For fast video action, I plug into Sega. Sega! 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 You'll never find another place like mine. And the reason why? Hey, 32X. Gaming goes to the extremes with Genesis 32X. It's exciting, excellent, extraordinary, and it's just what you'd expect from Sega. It transforms your Genesis into a 32-bit video game machine and puts the power of the most sophisticated arcade games in your living room. Genesis 32X X's the competition, and it exhibits its extensive power this fall. 32X plugs right into Sega Genesis, and so do these new games for America's favorite video game system. Do you believe this cat is 40 years old? Doesn't look a day over, you know what I mean? Hey, anyhow, Warner Brothers' Tasmanian Devil and his cartoon friends celebrate his 40th with real cartoon quality animation and electrifying sound. A hilarious action journey from Earth to Mars and back again. Also later this year, the Little Devil celebrates on Game Gear. Wireheads, gearheads, game heads. Hey, no matter where your head's at, you'll fall for Dynamite Eddie. Sega's newest megastar, who, depending upon the situation, changes heads at your command as he zings through this new game in search of the Dark Demon on Genesis and Game Gear 2. Just when you thought Echo could swim in peace, the evil vortex is back. Swim with Echo the Dolphin through 25 levels of aquatic adventure. Breathtaking 3D travel scenes and spectacular suspended water tubes for an undersea adventure you'll never forget. In Echo, the Tides of Time. You can play Echo on Genesis, Sega CD, and Game Gear. Hey, hold on a minute. Did I forget Sonic, my main man? No way. My spiky blue buddy will meet up with a new dreadlocked red character, Knuckles. Watch for them in October. Now grab your game controller and get ready for some of the hottest sports action on TV. It's a lot of fun, yeah, buddy. Oh, get down. The networks? ESPN? Not. It's Sega Sports, featuring the most realistic and advanced sports games today, with intense action games that tear it up, like NFL 95. College football's national championship, and slamming ice action on NHL All-Star Hockey 95.
What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Barbeque Night, Tactical Grape Soda Learning Games, or Barbeque Night for short. I'm your host, Sober Ryu, and you're in for a real treat today because we're talking about the video game console wars. I am joined by, I think I'm joined by some people. Let's see here. You guys there?
Yes. I think we're here.
Oh, shit, I can hear you guys. Good stuff, good stuff.
I haven't fallen asleep yet. I don't.
You guys are fighting through it.
I'm always awake. I don't sleep.
Oh my god, Varnis the night owl, man, because he's over in Australia, man, where it's dark as hell right now. But actually, it's
it's only 5 a.m. No, 8 a.m. Sorry.
Oh wow!
My bad.
So you could see the sun, and I'm seeing the sun go down. You're seeing it come up. That's crazy. But
you're sending it right back to me.
I suppose so.
Yeah, I see the sun going his way right now. So.
Indeed. We'll give him our energy then. But welcome guys to the show. Tonight on the panel, I have first off none other than Varnis, our resident Australian. What's going on tonight? This morning for you. What's going on?
Oh, tonight would be also a good analogy since I haven't really had a sleepover night, but it's okay. Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm here to talk video games. That's probably the only thing I'm good at talking about.
Well, damn.
These days.
Don't count yourself short. But thank you for taking time to be on the panel tonight, man. Next up, we have a returning champion, Doctor from the SSAA podcast, man. How you doing tonight?
Pretty good. Just got out of work. Weekend's here. I want to talk about video games.
There you go, man. This is my last day of my weekend. But congratulations for making it to the end of the week, man. It's a great feeling.
Yeah, I usually work towards it.
It's a hard fight every damn week, man. Every week. But also on the show, first timer here, it's just like Varnis. We've got I just killed the wrong name. Let's bring that back up. God. What? Oh my God, I can't click shit today. I've got Dollar Relance. What's going on, sir? Welcome to the show.
Hello. I'm out of my cave in my Twitter exile. So I hope everybody appreciates this.
Dollar's been in Twitter detox, man. He's been staying away from the social medias, and if anything, I guess everybody could use a break from social media. It does consume quite a bit of our lives. I find myself chained to it personally, so maybe I could use a break if it wasn't for me doing podcasting and having to stay in contact with people and get the word out for all sorts of stuff. I'd probably do it.
Well, you don't have to go to the stream like I do. I decided to take a week. You can at least take like 3 days.
Hey, boy, you never know. I might try it sometime, at least for a day or two. But thank you guys for coming out to the show. We might have a special guest later if he decides to wake his ass up and join us. But we'll see what happens after the break. Tonight's hashtag, by the way, is hashtag BBQ console. So if you guys want to have your tweets seen on stream, please use that hashtag, and we'll do our best to answer any questions or read your tweets on stream and see if it adds to the conversation. Many thanks for those who are watching the stream tonight on live stream, right here on live stream. But also, if you're having problems with the chat like we did all yesterday, we have a poverty chat, which is over at our Twitch TV channel.
What's the poverty chat? What's that?
Poverty chat is when the main chat for a stream you're watching isn't working all that great, or you're not a subscriber to it. So you have to find other ways to chat. And since live stream has been giving us headaches with the chat feature, at least all yesterday it was, we set up a poverty chat, which is over at twitch.tv/fightersready. So if you have problems with the chat, head on over there, and if you have a twitch.tv account, just sign in and feel free to chat away. I've got both chats open on my screen, so I'll be able to see those, and we'll accommodate towards you there too. But also, if you've seen this tweet today, head on over to our Twitter, which is Barbeque Night, and hit that retweet button on that tweet, or hit the retweet button here on this page here at live stream. And many thanks for doing that. Many thanks for those who are here watching live, and also those who are watching the archive as well, either here or on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Shinjuku Station. But let's get this started, man. Tonight's topic is about the console wars, and one of the questions I have for the panel tonight is, what was your first console? And I will turn the next question over to one of our first-time guests, Varnis. What was your first video game console?
It was the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis. Well, kind of Sega Genesis.
Oh man. So you got them both the same day?
No. It was more or less. I pretty much had access to one where like my dad had the because my family's divorced, so I lived at two different houses.
Oh yeah.
And so I had one console at each house.
Oh wow. So
And
it's like you live two lives.
Yeah. So one half week I'd go in and I'd be a Nintendo guy, and then I'd go next week and I'd be just some normal video game guy. I don't know.
Nice.
I don't know what to say. 'Cause I mean, the only game I had for the Genesis was probably Aladdin.
Oh shit! Well, out of all the games to have, that's a good one.
Yeah, that was probably one of the best-selling games on that system as well.
It was indeed. It was indeed. I'll turn it over to Dalo. What was your first console?
The earliest console I can remember is the Atari 2600. That's I realize that's good. That's dinosaur in terms of everybody else in terms of consoles, but I do remember that was my earliest console that I ever owned, because I remember playing Pong and all these no-name games that nobody even heard of, and I can't care to remember. Thankfully, I did not play the infamous E.T. game, but that was my first console ever.
Well, you dodged that bullet.
Yeah, thankfully.
Nice. Doc, what was your first console, sir?
Actually, it was the NES, and then Nintendo Entertainment System.
Nice.
I remember playing that as a kid, and I think I eventually did get like all the Nintendo products up to then. I think early days it was between my NES and my original Game Boy, which the memories.
Well, it looks like you came up in the 8-bit era as well, and Dalo and Varnis came up in the 16-bit era. I guess that leads me to ask you guys, what was your favorite era of gaming? Doc, I'm gonna start off with you first.
I don't know. I feel like I've gone through so many of them like at this point that it's hard for me to like pick favorites. I think I enjoyed the whole 16-bit era. Those were probably the times where I had the most amount of games that I was playing at any given time. So I guess a little personally for me, that'd probably be that one.
Not too bad. Dala, what was your favorite era of gaming?
It was probably be the PlayStation era. No, the PS1 era. That was my favorite because that was when I got into like RPGs and stuff like that, and that was arguably what a lot of people would consider the golden age of RPGs. I really like that one, and that's the console I like the most because I still own a lot of the older games for that. And as I'm sitting here, I'm looking at my PS1 right now, which is hooked up to my standard def because I was recently playing it. So I would have to say that is still my favorite console.
Wow, that is a memorable age of gaming. And I know RPGs were a huge staple in that time. I mean, that really came into their into their prominence during that time, especially here in the States. But Varnis, what was your favorite era of gaming so far?
It would probably have been like the same as Dollars, which was PlayStation era and Nintendo 64, if only because that to me was a time where I really didn't listen to anyone's crap, and I just and basically it was a time where I picked the game because I was interested in it, and I played it because I enjoyed it. And nowadays it's the internet. It's just very much. Do I play this game after what this guy said about it, or do I just do I just keep my opinions to myself? I don't know.
Well, I forgot to mention, I guess what was my first console. My first console, incidentally, was also the NES, just like Doc. When I got that system, it was a little late compared to most. It was in 1988, and that system already had been in the public eye for over 3 years. I was kind of a hard sell because I didn't think anything could beat Atari back then. Anything at all. And my friends were like shitting all over me because they had either NESs or Sega Master Systems. And I actually played the Master System before I played the NES, and I was pretty blown away at how good the Master System looked. But then my mother, she used to work at Sears when we used to live in Key West back in the late 80s. And I used to go there to visit her when she was working, and they had a NES set up for people to just walk up and play, and they had Super Mario Brothers, and I was sold from that point onward. And then I heard about Legend of Zelda, and I just couldn't wait to own the system because all my friends were playing all these great games, and which I barely had the chance to play because they couldn't have company, or they were busy playing games, so I couldn't even get a shot. So when I finally got the NES, when our family finally got the NES in 1988, man, for that Christmas, that to me is probably the best Christmas we ever had. And we rocked that NES until the early 90s when the Super Nintendo came out. As for my favorite era of gaming, I'll be honest with you, my favorite era of gaming is the 32-bit era. The rivalry between the PlayStation and the Sega Saturn. I was able to afford my own games at that time. I had a job. Great games were coming out. I got into importing. And I also, I'm a big fighting game nut. So the Sega Saturn, which was my favorite system at that time, was the system du jour when it came to fighters, and I just was all over it. Plus, there were plenty of import games that didn't even stand a chance of coming out here, like and Oscar 120% and cool Grandia, exactly at the time. So having a Sega Saturn and being able to play import games on that with the RAM cart was just amazing. I really began to appreciate games and played a really wide variety of games on that system. And it was also, ironically, the era that I stopped being a system loyalist. Even though I loved the Saturn, I wanted a PlayStation because there were cool games in that system too. So it was an era where I learned a lot, and that definitely is and it helped to shape me to be the gamer I am today. I guess some people wouldn't call me a gamer because I like just a few genres, but whatever. But speaking of which, we came up in pretty much the 16-bit and the 8-bit eras, so the rivalries between systems were fucking vicious back then, man. Holy shit.
They're kind of becoming even more vicious now, just at least in the spirit of that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anonymity really helps a lot.
Anonymity.
Well, I think in the corporate sense, it helps. As far as the fan bases goes, it doesn't.
Right. Well, yeah. I guess there's two sides of the matter. There's the corporate approach where they use advertising to sway the consumer, and to make them loyal to a particular system, so that way they stick with their exclusives and buy the third-party games in their system and play them on them exclusively. But back in the day, I'd say between the systems back then, like the NES and the Sega Master System, or even going back to the ColecoVision and the Atari, when the same game, when a third-party game came out between those two systems, there was a significant difference between them. Like, say for instance, Pac-Man is a perfect example. When Pac-Man came out on the Atari 2600, if you go back and look at that game, it looks like a piece of shit.
It is. I've actually played it. It is garbage. It is absolute garbage. If you compare that to to the arcade version, it is like night and day. It'd be like if EA tried to get I don't know, Mass Effect 2 to work on the Wii. It would just not work.
Exactly. It just looked like a bunch of blocks all over the screen. And of course, that was passable back in the day. You could put a port out there, and if you're just able to emulate the way the game played, that was good enough.
Yeah, but the problem was it had a lot of glitches. It was really glitchy as hell.
It was pretty bad.
like the 32 different versions of Donkey Kong, was it? On all the different consoles?
Oh my god, that's another good example too. When you look at the ColecoVision though, the version of Pac-Man and the version of Donkey Kong on those systems were a lot closer looking to the arcade, and that's when people started to strive more of an arcade simulation experience. I guess back then, the arcade dictated what was the top of the pops when it came to how a video game looked and performed, because arcades weren't limited by the system hardware. They just created the hardware and put the game out. It was just limited by the technology at the time. So it was pretty. To me, that's when the real console war started between consoles, and then of course the NES came out and demolished all those systems, and the Sega Master System, even though it was this rival when it came out, didn't really seem to do much of a dent in Nintendo's swag back then. and I'll be honest, the Sega Master System was gorgeous. To me, I think that the graphics on that system, in some ways outdid the NES. But
it did. I mean, historically, it's if you look at it, it is better than this the NES. The Master System was more powerful, and this will be a point I'll bring up like later on when we get into later generations.
Sure.
But continue.
No, I mean, feel free to talk. But yeah, to me that was a rivalry. I wasn't really all too present for that rivalry all that much because I was still on Atari's jock. But but Doc, do you recall anything from that time? Like, did you have exposure to the Sega Master System during the War of the Roses between that and the NES?
The funny thing is, like, I was pretty young at the time when I got the system, so I was never really exposed to many Sega systems.
Yeah.
I never even owned a real Sega console for ever. Like, I mean, I think we were talking off mic or earlier, but I mentioned having a Nomad at one point, but that was like well beyond past the time of the actual system of the Sega being out. So that at that point, Nomad was just like a little. It was just a artifact that was just hanging around at like a EB at one point. So
just so everybody understands what the hell a Nomad is. A Nomad is basically a portable Genesis. It was basically a Genesis where you could put Genesis cartridges in and actually play them on the go.
Oh yeah.
Of course, like the Game Gear before, it ate up AA batteries like crap, but it existed.
Yeah, it existed. I didn't really do much with it because probably a week after I owned it, it got lost. I was gonna say stolen, but might as well be.
Well, it was stolen then lost.
It was ripped from your life. That's all there. That's all that you need to say.
I didn't even have anything. I think I had Vector Man on there. That's about it.
Oh my God, I can't count how many things got stolen from me back in the day when it comes to video games. Freaking, I was pretty free.
So free, but more to the point is that I was never really, I was not aware so much about this whole strong rivalry. What's great about it is like I love to be in my own little bubble, so I'm never I like obviously this is pre-internet, it's way pre-internet. I wasn't exposed to all of this fervor against one side or another. I mean, I was relatively aware of it from the advertisements, from some of the different things. I think this is a weird one I'm watching. And this is like late era stuff, but it's like around the time of the 64, where I think Nintendo was doing this whole big push for the 64, and I think the Rumble Pack, I believe. And it was these three guys in these, literally, it was a Sony shirt, a Sega shirt, and I forgot what was the other one. God damn it. I don't remember. It was these two, like, it was just a dude with just their logo shirts, and they stole Mario and held him hostage for to find out more about, I think, Star Fox, because that was a game at the time they were promoting. It was a stupid video. I still have it on VHS somewhere. I have to look for it, but it was just a Mario doll that they were like putting it like inside of like a little like a vice, and they were turning this like, no, don't hurt Mario. Fine, I'll tell you about the Rumble Pack.
I remember that commercial. Holy shit! It's got to be on YouTube, man. I gotta hunt that down.
It has to be on YouTube. I remember watching that. It was like, this is just. I mean, that's probably my only real, I guess, exposure to this whole consoles duking it out kind of thing. I mean, I was aware of it at sometimes whenever it was probably discussed like at school or something, but that's about it. I was not too far into it. So like, by then I was just like, whatever. Any video games are cool. So and
yeah, that's pretty much my boat as well.
Yeah, so like I was never got a chance to like, despite me like watching stuff like and this is a very obscure fucking thing. There is this. This was like I don't know when it was happening. I think it was around the time when cable was becoming more of a popular thing, and they were adding a lot of more channels to their blocks. I think, and it's also like a regional thing specifically here. And there was this thing called intro television.
Right.
This is like before they added like stuff like Cartoon Network and HBO and all kinds of stuff. What it was this like here's like between this time and this time you get to see like Animal Planet programs or Cartoon Network programs, yada yada. So, but I say this specifically because there was this one thing that they showed was a quote show called Twitch, and it's just called Twitch. I've recorded this stuff on VHS when I was a kid. I loved it because it was literally a video game show. Like, hey, here are these the Sega game, the Sony game, like things like this is the games genie and stuff like that. Like it was like showing off all kinds of like cool I think Grand no, it wasn't what was a show, what was a game, I forgot. I think the Saturn was out at the time. I remember they were showing that off too. But it was literally just like a little half-hour show, and it was just in between like a Disney Channel program and in between like Animal Planet at like a specific time that I had to catch this specific show, and I was able to see all kinds of different stuff from there, and it was like that was like the only it's hard for me. It's like it was kind of like this MTV-ish kind of style, VJ-ish kind of style of presenting these games. Hey, these are the greatest things ever. Whoa, watch out, kind of stuff. It was really
90s advertising.
90s ass advertisement. It's ridiculous.
With the 90s fashion.
Indeed.
I think it was late 90s, so at least people look
okay. So at least it was evolving into next generation fashion.
Yeah, they were presentable. I have some videos somewhere. I'll probably end up eventually ripping all of this stuff on a capture card and just putting it on YouTube to preserve for the world.
Be the first to put it up.
I'll try to, because I don't think anyone besides me knows about this thing.
Man.
At all.
Probably not.
Well, Varnis, man, you were lucky enough to, I guess, grow up exposed to two systems simultaneously. So, did you ever have a bias at one time with consoles and just the way like any kind of brand loyalty or anything like that?
Not really, because because I always had that perspective of once like I always knew that there was some games you just could not get on another system. And I just figured, it's not that one system greater than the other one. It's just the fact that it pretty much just came down to which games did I have more of on one system, and I pretty much just spend most of my time playing through all the games of the one system, and the other system was either neglected or just playing the same game over and over and over again. But yeah.
Well, you grew up with the scales balanced, sir. I know. I was in middle school when the debate raged. Personally, I guess when I was getting into middle school, that's when the 16-bit era started, or close to it, and the Genesis had come out, and the Genesis does advertising started to rock the airwaves, and I noticed that there were people who just were taking sides, and I already had an NES, so I just naturally took Nintendo's side. It's like, well, I got the NES, it's better than your system, even if your system's more advanced. And I just I got into that whole vortex of politics, man, and it was vicious, man. People got into fights over that shit. I don't understand why, but I knew
video games is.
What's that?
Video games are serious business, man.
I guess the kids they are.
Yeah.
But the advertising was poisoned, man. But it was clever. It was real clever, man. Especially when the Super Nintendo came out. With the now you're playing Nintendo always had that slogan, now you're playing with power. But it was just the Super Nintendo advertising was pretty genius, and they advertised that system well. I still think that this system has one of the best launch catalogs of any system, basically, and they won a lot of people over from Genesis, so a lot of people who would have gotten a Genesis definitely grabbed the Super Nintendo instead. But that was back in the day when the mindset was you had to own one system or the other, and owning multiple systems was not in the cards for most people, or even considered. But then other systems started to come out, like the what was it? The TurboGrafx 16. The era of the CD.
The 3DO.
The 3DO, yes. The old Trip Hawkins, man. And that was like the first time I noticed, outside of previous systems like the Atari 2600 and the Intellivision and the ColecoVision, where an American company tried to step back into the foray of gaming and got smacked the fuck down.
Because they had a ridiculous price tag.
Oh my god! And I guess that was a really crazy transitionary period, because you had the advent of the CD being brought into gaming, and the CD and what it could bring to gaming not only as that, but also as a multimedia machine where you can pop in video CDs and watch music videos and watch movies and all that stuff was starting to become, I guess, a reality. You know, it was really poor res and whatnot, but you know, it was an option that you had. The Philips CDI, they touted that pretty well. And this is just a few years before the DVD finally rolled out. But did you guys ever delve into the 3DO or the Philips CDI or the even the TurboGrafx Turbo Duo or anything like that? Or get exposed to it?
I had experiences with them, but I never owned any of them, thankfully.
Man.
Like, the closest thing I ever got to any of those was the Sega CD, and in hindsight, I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, that was probably the best of them all, man. The Sega CD was a nice add-on for the Genesis, and it really helped to revitalize that system. And I guess they thought they could do it again with the with the 32X, but they thought wrong.
Whoops.
Yeah.
But yeah,
let's forget about that one.
Yeah, the Sega CD was a trip. They had great games on there. FMV games became all the rage with that system, and that would continue on with the Saturn and the PlayStation. I guess that's a rivalry that we all know very well because we all at the time, we were either torn from one or the other. I mean, were you guys, Doc? Of course, you didn't own the Saturn, but did you own a PlayStation back then?
I actually didn't own a PlayStation until way later in its course. I think I stayed pretty much as Nintendo centric as much as I possibly can, mainly because it was just not in the cards in regards to just the financial reasons. So I was never able to do it, but I was at least exposed to it, like a lot. So because I usually live vicariously through all of my family, because they would usually own all the other consoles. I don't. So I was able to play some of the stuff, or I would go to like a Sears or something, and they would have a display set up for all these different consoles I don't own, and that's how I was able to at least.
That's one thing I do miss that companies don't really do very well, or at least I don't feel they do well enough nowadays, which is the demo stations in stores and whatnot. I feel that they were better back then. If only, and this might be my nostalgia, but every time I go into these things, it's only ever really one game that you're ever to play, like the Gears of War or the Uncharted. At least Nintendo still go with the Wii U now. They at least give you the option to play, at least sample other games, even if by video. I just wish they do those a lot better because I still feel gaming like demo stations are still better, which is why I think some consoles don't do as well as they used to.
I always prayed every time my mom needed to go clothes shopping.
Ah, yes.
That was the best. That's when you actually enjoyed going shopping.
Yeah, it's like, darn straight for the electronics section.
You would go in and tell your mom, "Hey, mom, I'm gonna be in the electronics.
I'll be in the game
place.
section.
If you need me, just go there. Okay,
I'll
fine.
be there. I'll be fine." And then they're left alone, get abducted, never seen from again. Thanks, mom.
You know, what's odd is nowadays you can walk into a game store and not be able to play shit. That's
That's what I'm getting at. Like, it's like you have game stores now, and even then, it's hard as hell to play a demo. It's like, I came here to sample your games.
Exactly. They'll give you a hard time if you try to do that. I remember Electronics Boutique back when it was called Electronics Boutique, and you could walk in there and you can ask to play anything, and they would pop it in. They would pop that shit in. It's like, yeah, sure, we'll open it up. We'll put it in for you.
Because you realize that's a game that could be sold.
Yeah, that's a game that could be sold, and if you did dig it, then they would just say the copy that they opened. But yeah, there's that chain and Babbage's and whatnot. But yeah, the 32-bit era was pretty vicious. I know that Sony came into prominence during the 32-bit era because.
Before we go into Sony, I just wanted to let everybody know about. I've been on the Twitch chat, and I just put up a post there, a video link called that links to a video called Play Value, if anybody's heard about it. Yeah. But it's a video about the history between versus Sega versus Nintendo. And as we go through like the various areas, I'll put up some videos up there for people to check out because I figured that people might be interested in that. So I put up one that's a history of Sega and Nintendo.
Yeah, it's right there. It's actually on the stream right now.
Yeah. So anybody wants to check that out, I would encourage it because it's good stuff. But the interesting thing right here, and I'm going to turn it back to Sobro, is the fact that we know way back then Sony was actually interested in developing a Sega CD attachment for the Super Nintendo,
Yes, they did.
and we all know they eventually got turned down and screwed over, basically, instead of writing. But here's the interesting thing that this just recently came out, like as of this last E3 in 2013, is the fact that it turns out that Sony actually went to Sega to ask them if they could collaborate with Sega to actually create a pure CD console, and Sega Japan turned them down too before Sony decided just to make their own PlayStation, which is I always find that very curious. That's all. But go ahead, Sobro.
No, that you raised a very good point. Yeah, the birth of the PlayStation came from that, pretty much that. I knew the story about it was supposed to be, the PlayStation originally was supposed to be an add-on that was going to come out for the Super Nintendo in 1994. But when that fell through and all that backstabbery happened between the two companies, Sony did go on to make their own system. And when they did, they blew the world up with it. And I think in Japan, when it came out in like early 1995 in Japan, I think. And,
yeah, I think it came out in 95 in Japan, and over here it came out in 96.
96, yeah, that's when it broke wild. I remember Christmas in 96.
Actually, you got that like a year backwards. It was very like December 3 of 1994, and then like September of 1995.
Wow.
So
Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense because I remember one of my friends got the PlayStation, I believe, towards the end of 95. Christmas in 95, actually. He came back from Christmas vacation and had it. And I never played anything on there until I played Battle Arena Toshinden. And that was the first game I played on that system. And I was sold on the PlayStation at that point in time. Even though I already had a Saturn, I was like, man, I want the system, man. I want to play this game because it's only on this system at the time. So that's when I realized that system exclusives could get me to branch out and buy other systems. And it wasn't a big deal to be such a brand loyalist. But do you guys, Doc, do you being that you didn't have a Sega system at the time and you pretty much just had Nintendo related systems, when did you finally branch out and get the system from the enemy camp?
The enemy camp.
Like how you put that.
Like I mentioned, I basically was living through my other family members. So they had a Sony PlayStation at the time. And that's how I was able to play like a bunch of other games. And I think this was like towards the late run of the PS1. I finally actually was able to buy a PlayStation 1. Oh. And I think that was even before I got the PlayStation 2. It was like shortly before the PS2 as well. Mm-hmm. So it was a that small little gap before I guess the full conversion happened. At least that's probably around when I started. Because it was just by accident we only had Nintendo systems. So once I was able to play it, I was like, oh yeah, this is awesome, and I had like a good library to play off of. So it was at least a fun time. And then by then the PS2 was out, so I was like, oh damn, I have this PS1 now, but there's already the PS2 here. Screw it. Eventually, I was able to convince my family to finally get that.
Did you use the it's a DVD argument?
I think it was. I'm sure that was a factor at one point. But I don't think that at the time it was like DVDs even. I swear to God, the first DVD I actually played on my PS2, no fucking joke, was the Final Fantasy Spirits Within movie.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I was like,
that's actually an okay movie, just not a good Final Fantasy.
It's not a good Final Fantasy movie. Not at all. I was like, hey, this movie fun.
Your laser must have felt shitted on.
Funny thing is, that laser did eventually burn out one day.
Ooh, man. Tell me that's a PlayStation trait.
Yeah.
At least the older systems, man. I've had PlayStations 1s and 2s that the laser have died on shortly after getting them. It's like, wow, this must be par for the course with the Sony system.
Which I find funny because I'm looking at my PS2 and PS1 right here in front of me, and they're still running like a fucking champ right now.
That's amazing. Well, my PS3 hasn't had any problems, so cross my fingers. I hope I didn't just give it a death sentence by saying that, but
you jinxed yourself.
Too late.
I tend to do that. But
funny that Tom Della mentioned the DVD issues, because funny enough, when the PS2 came out, that my sister got that only because it was a DVD player, and I was left with only a DVD player.
Whoa, damn.
and I'm like, this
trade you.
is bullshit. Yeah, that's exactly what ended up happening. Was I just pretty much said, hey, look, you just want to watch DVDs. I want to play games. Let's just trade it.
Not a bad switch, man. I think you won out.
Oh, damn right I ran that.
Damn.
I ran that.
Nicely done, sir. You scam artist, you. But
In more ways than free.
but exactly. I'll say this. I don't. Some things have changed when it comes to the technology, but I think the politics are still the same. I know there's a lot of people out there who are still pretty much clutch brand loyalty, and I guess that's okay. I mean, you know what you like, so that's fine. But I know that my biggest hope is that people chase the games and not be like chained to one particular brand or anything like that. I mean, there's all different types of flavors out there when it comes to gaming, and there's exclusives on every system. The PS, not to get into it, but I know that the PS4 right now is not looking too hot on exclusives, but the hardware is pretty nice. So, and the Xbox has got a lot of fucking problems when it comes to consumer interface, but it's got a lot of exclusives. So it's just both sides of the coin in that matter. But
well, the difference between the two has always been like, and I've noticed this, is that with the PS4, it's not really that big on exclusives. But the other side of it is that it has a very diverse library already at jump. That's the thing about that. So, and I've noticed with when it comes to Microsoft that they tend to, in order for them to get those third-party exclusives or just get exclusives made for their console, they tend to recruit external studios to make them, i.e., like Epic with Gears of War, or what we just recently saw with Crytek being recruited by Microsoft to make Rise, Son of Rome. So I guess so that's not exactly like the cheapest thing. But I guess if it works out for them, it works out for them. But then again, Microsoft has bigger pockets than everybody, so.
that is true. Not that I'm a big fan of Microsoft, but I do own an Xbox 360, and I have enjoyed that system for the most part. But yeah, I've got to ask, since you know when you came into maturing into gaming, what console ended up being your favorite over the long run of your history of gaming? Varnis, what's your favorite console out of all the ones you've owned or had?
It's probably gonna have to be the PS2.
Look at you, man. The long running champ, the system that will not die.
It will die by the end of this year.
Oh
yeah, because they stopped producing that thing.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
They finally stopped producing units of that thing.
They put a stake in its heart. It's like, you're done.
And just
you did your job. You did your job. We don't need it anymore. which means I have to go out and get a new PS2 sometime, just in case if my current one burns out on me.
Yeah, because then you're shit out of luck. But Varnis, what were you saying?
Oh, I was just gonna say because it was kind of my favorite only because that's kind of the one I had the most games for.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just very simple. There wasn't really too many games that were so crap, and there wasn't too many games that were so great. It was just a weird balance, I guess.
Yeah, I think to this day that system probably has more games on it. It's something equivalent to how many games the NES had, because I mean, games just kept getting pumped out for that system throughout the 12 years of its life. Because it came out like in Japan like I guess early 2000.
I want to say like the 2000.
Yeah. Because I know. Go ahead.
It was early 2000 for Japan and late 2000 for us.
Yeah. So that system came out and made a splash, even though there were shortages, man. And tell me, let me tell you something. When the PlayStation 2 shortage happened, man, there were fights, riots, and stabbings.
I remember a particular news piece at the time when the PS2 was going to be launched that the Sony, and I do remember this, that they literally did say they had to transport those PS2s in armored cars.
Yeah.
I literally remember that.
They did.
And to this day, I was like, man, that's hype.
Yeah, people got killed in parking lots for that system. That shit is no joke. You thought people got killed over shoes with something? Fucking systems, man. The PS2 was a hot commodity. It was so hot that people passed up on buying the Dreamcast for mad cheap in 1999. Well, I guess Christmas of 2000. They passed up on buying a Dreamcast, which was having one hell of a sale on their systems in order to get them into people's homes.
Yeah.
They passed up on that shit just to wait for a PlayStation 2, a promise of getting one in March of the following year. So that system pretty much cemented itself in history as being just the go-to system. And shout outs to the Dreamcast. That system was a phenomenal system that didn't really get its time in the sun. Probably mainly because Sega, I guess, burned too many bridges when it came to third-party publishers, and also with creating systems and then killing support for them within a year and a half of their release. And that's never a good thing. When you burn your consumers too many times, you you stand to lose them, and that's exactly what happened going into the 32-bit era. But,
and I just and in the Twitch chat, I just posted up a video of the Sega Dreamcast, the history of the Sega Dreamcast. So anybody wants to get up to speed of their Sega history, go read that.
There you go.
I haven't dumped in that Rumble Pack video I found.
I saw that. That was hilarious.
I'll tell you a funny story about the whole PS2 generation thing. The funny thing was, I originally wanted the GameCube, but my parents went and got me an Xbox.
Oh man, how dare they?
I know.
In retrospect, yeah.
So I was stuck with that for about a year and a half until again I did the whole trade thing with my sibling. Then I never ended up getting the GameCube until about 2005. I don't know how I ended up getting that thing. I got it from one of my cousins because they never play video games anymore, and they have it, so I don't know. But it was weird. I wanted a Nintendo console. I got a Microsoft console. Ended up having a Sony console as my favorite out of the whole three.
Right.
Jeez.
That was just.
So I take it you weren't into Blinks, the Time Traveler on the Xbox.
Actually, no. No.
Wow.
Well, actually, no. In retrospect, I actually enjoyed a lot of games on the Xbox. Like that was my introduction to Halo and first-person shooters, and then that got me. I actually did enjoy Blinks. It was. I'm probably one of 10 people that bought the sequel to that game as well. But there was also a few games I got for that. Namely probably one of the Crash Bandicoot games that came on there, if only because I remembered it from the original PlayStation. But then I was hyped on GameCube because hey, I gotta get that Mario Sunshine and and all those other Nintendo properties. But I cursed the day that I opened that box on Christmas, and I thought, oh man, I'm gonna get the GameCube. It's like, oh no, the box is too big for a GameCube. What the fuck?
Yeah, man. Man, it's wild. What was going on in that era, man. Varnis, you never had a Dreamcast, right? You kind of missed that era. Is that right?
No, it because for some reason I just did not notice it at all.
Wow. Man, and
it was a ghost to me.
God dang, yeah, that was a lot of people, man. I tried to convince a lot of people when I used to work at video game stores over in the late 90s, man. People were trying to hear that shit. They're either happy with their PlayStations or they were happy with waiting for the PS2. Doc, you had mentioned that you didn't have any Sega systems. Did you discover the Dreamcast afterwards, or did you?
Actually, around the time when it happened, my friend actually bought he lived right across my house, so he actually got a Dreamcast. So I was able to go over his place all the time and be able to play. So I was never exposed to some of the fighting games on there though. That's probably my biggest regret. But playing the games that were on there were actually they were fun. I couldn't get the controller, but they were fun.
Oh god, the controller.
The problem is even I have a kind of feeling towards the Dreamcast because even though the games that I played weren't much, and I think even the last game I played was fucking Floygan Brothers. You remember that shit?
Floygan Brothers?
Yeah.
Wow.
I barely played that shit.
Even I was like, oh, this is the worst example you can get for the system. You're championing this shit. Okay, whatever, bro. Obviously, there were a bunch of. You eventually got some other games on there. I forgot what they were, but
you missed Power Stone and.
No, I played
all those great games. Oh, you played that? Good shit.
I was like, at least I got that. And I think DOA was actually one of the things I played on there.
Right, I forgot that was on that system. Soul Calibur, man. What about that?
I think did he? No, I don't think he had Soul Calibur.
Oh my god, that's one of the greatest launch titles for a system ever. Holy shit.
Still one of the greatest video game fighters out there. 3D fighters.
Only to be beaten by part 2. But
Yeah.
Damo, did you get the chance to get the Dreamcast when it came out, or did you miss the boat on that too? Oh, well.
No. I knew I had to get a Dreamcast. Part of the reason I had to get a Dreamcast, and it was easy for me to get a Dreamcast when it launched, was because I asked for it on my birthday on September 9th, 1999. Because that was the day. Because I was also born on September 9th. So getting my parents to buy me a console for my birthday when I was in elementary school, it was very easy for me. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't hard to get it, and I had to get it just because I knew that there was going to be a Sonic game on there, and I was excited for that. Oh, yeah. But on the flip side of that, I also was very excited because of the new Resident Evil that was going to be on it, which was Code Veronica.
Code Veronica, yes, sir.
And I still think that's the best one. Because I think that's the best. It has the best tank classic controls, but it's also the one classic Resident Evil game where the knife is actually worthwhile because of frame glitches in it. If you can actually you can get good with the knife, and you can actually go through that game completely using only the knife, and it won't be too much of a nightmare for you.
Why was that? Was there a glitch with the knife?
Well, the thing is, like how in older Resident Evil games, if you use the knife, it only register one hit. Mm-hmm. In this game, because of the frame animations, it'll register multiple hits if you aim laterally down. Oh. So it actually will take out the zombies. It'll actually do enough damage that a zombie will fall, because the zombies have those classic animations where they get hit a certain amount of times with bullets or just damage in general. They'll fall down to get back up again. And because they're doing it as they're falling, you could still keep attacking them, and they'll take more and more damage before they die.
So you get frame advantage. Nice stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just to bring in that fighting game community stuff. But yes,
you plink into knife.
Yeah.
And like roll canceling in the stabbing a zombie's head off. That's the shit.
Well, not stabbing their heads off, but early teabagging.
Nice. Nice.
But yeah, that was still my favorite, and I never had I never played that system online. I will admit, because trying to get it to work online was just a real pain in the ass, and my parents weren't able to do it, and I wasn't able to figure it out back then. So I just said, whatever, I'm gonna just play my games on here. Which is why I probably value my single-player experiences still to this day, more so than the online ones. Yeah, I understand online is important, but single-player is just as important in my opinion.
Well, to me, the Dreamcast was finally the open door to the internet I was hoping to have in the system. They teased it many times with the Sega Saturn had a net adapter that you could buy, but it was expensive, and the PlayStation, I don't believe the PlayStation 1 had that in America, but the PlayStation 2 had it later on when that came out. But the Dreamcast in America, of course, came with a modem in every system. So basically, they encouraged online play for their games. And I didn't really come across too many games in America that had it, but there was a shit ton of games coming out in Japan that had online play on SegaNet. And that was they must have been having a blast playing online. But one of the few games I did play online on that system was Phantasy Star Online, and the first iteration of that game came out, and it was completely free, and it was not only my first exposure with an MMO, but my first exposure with online drama in an MMO. So,
yeah.
But it was great. You could buy a keyboard for the Dreamcast to either browse the internet with or talk on Phantasy Star Online. You could also play Quake online, the Quake that was available on there. I played it for a little bit, and that was pretty cool to play that online with people. But yeah, Phantasy Star Online was my first foray into online gaming on a console, and it was pretty memorable, man. Ever since then, I've never been able to replicate that experience in any MMOs since. So maybe it's just you can never go home, that old saying. But if anything, it was a magical time, man, and I love that system for the Dreamcast, amongst other reasons. That system just had a great slate of games. Sadly, you could also play burn games on it pretty easily. and that's probably one of the things that killed that system. But
sadly, quote unquote.
yes, that quote unquote, exactly. But it did open up the door to playing a lot of games that never came out here, games that were pretty much rocking solid in Japan, and playing a lot of imports that you normally have to go out and buy. So the Dreamcast opened up the door to a whole different world of gaming, and I always appreciate that system for it. But yeah, well, I guess that takes us into the 2000s, man. I'd say, what was your guys' first, I guess, foray into online gaming for you guys? Was it the Xbox? Was it the PlayStation 2, or was it the 3, or the PlayStation 3 or the Xbox 360?
For me, it was the Xbox,
Mm-hmm.
because I rocked the like again, I was one of the millions and millions of people who played Halo 2 online like for days on end.
Yeah, I meant the same thing actually, because I think by then I was in high school and all my friends actually were big fans. We would play Halo. We would set up LAN parties like every other weekend, just so we could all play Halo. And by the time
and the mad glitches in that game was just sick.
broken, yeah, just rocket jumps, everything. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like by then, once they were introducing this Xbox Live thing and everything was so green, knowing that eventually we can actually play this game at home. We don't have to set up LAN parties anymore. I mean, we still do, but we still did. But having this was able to be like, yo, this is awesome. So I think that's probably it. When I started even online.
Yeah, I no longer had to beg my friends' parents to let me come over and be like, yo, let me come over and we'll play some games together. And like, no, we can do that shit at home. Don't worry about it. I'll be at home. You'll be at home. We can play the same game.
We all had to draft off of somebody. I know when I used to roommate with Nick the Stampede back in 2004. He picked up an Xbox and he bought Capcom vs SNK 2 and Third Strike on that system. And man, did the fucking online play suck. We had to run an Ethernet cord that was like 50 foot long from the living room where the modem was on the computer desk into his room. So it was a 50-foot long Ethernet cord, and he plugged it into the back of his Xbox, and he'd play online with people in CVS2, and it was just the coolest shit. I was like, wow, we're finally playing online with CVS2, because we imported CVS2, Capcom vs SNK 2. For those who don't know, we imported it on the Dreamcast years before the Xbox version came out. So we always saw that in the import game, there was the ability to play online, but only if you really lived in Japan or had a Japanese ISP that worked with the game. And shout out to Tsunami. He points out that later Dreamcasts didn't play burns. They Sega did fix that issue, but you can modify them easily. I worked at a store which pretty much did modifications. The Dreamcast allowed burns to work, so it was an easy hurdle to get past. But nobody really looked for the newer systems. They went after those old systems quick as hell. But yeah, he's right on that accord as well. And yeah, when it comes to playing online on the Xbox 360, I dabbled with it, but that lag was terrible. Holy shit. And netcode was harsh, but you know, it was like we were living in the future finally. We had always dreamed of being able to play online, and that's when playing online was, you know, became amazing to me. You know, Phantasy Star Online was one experience, but playing Capcom vs SNK 2 online or Third Strike online was something I never dreamed of doing until that actually happened. So that's when I finally got a glimpse into the future, and it became a requirement for, you know, me buying later systems. But any other thoughts on online gaming, your first foray into it, Doc or Varnis or Dalo?
It was kind of like it was the first time I could ever shit talk someone without actually being at the arcade.
My first real experience with online gaming would have to be on the PC, and I'm not a very big PC guy, but I did know somebody who actually had like a tripped out. He had everything basically PC wise, and the only thing I would ever play is real time strategy games like Command and Conquer and StarCraft. So that would be the only time I ever play online. Console wise, that's really hard to say. I guess in terms of online play, in terms of like playing with someone who isn't in the same house but on way of bandwidth or something, it's probably Resident Evil 5 with that co-op. And I wasn't really exactly feeling that, considering like I always would end up getting really bad partners, and even when playing offline, that game was just terrible too. So it's like, God, it's like it's that game only became good after like I finally played the game, beat the game story wise, and I made Chris Redfield a freaking invincible monster by upgrading all the machines.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, but playing that game like in terms of like at the beginning, no, it's just I've never been big on online gaming. What?
No, I was gonna say. Go.
I was just gonna say, like, if for the traditional online stuff that I think most people think of, like a Halo type experience or something, I probably like a shooting experience, like an arena type experience, like teams and stuff like that. I think the only time I really would say my real big experience with that would be Uncharted 2, when I finally was able to play that online. And I thought it was okay. It's just something to turn your brain off, but it's not exactly stuff I do now. And nowadays, I'm addicted to playing Killzone Mercenaries on my Vita. So go figure.
Nala, you did remind me of stuff like StarCraft and Diablo 2, or like one of the things I would play all the time when I was younger. Loved the hell out of the stuff. And surprisingly, haven't been playing as much of the sequels, which is strange. Whatever.
Oh, damn.
Well, that brings, I guess, that PC. Just to preview some of our talk about PC, man. What was some of the? Did any of you guys own a PC for gaming back then, like in the late '90s or early 2000s at all?
I did.
No, I only knew people who did, because PC gaming is just really expensive.
Yes,
and it's still expensive now. It's just people are more accepting of it, I guess.
It's a lot more manageable now, I should say.
Some shit doesn't change, but yeah, if you can buy a laptop that can at least adequately play some games that you can buy off of Steam. And shout out to Steam.
You could buy laptops that are basically like, I guess, crisis mid-crisis level, being able to play them, like at least at mid-level crisis level.
Yeah. Tsunami mentioned Counter-Strike, UT, I guess Unreal Tournament, and Quake. Yeah, those were the popular games of that time, man. Holy shit.
Yeah, no, I knew a lot of people play Counter-Strike. Yep. Go ahead, Varnis.
Ironically, all of those are shooters.
Nice.
Yeah.
Which I suck at completely.
Yeah.
So do I.
We don't need to go into your Bioshock experience. That we don't know what that's like. go listen to Level 9, everybody.
Shout out to Level 9. They're actually going to be talking.
Go watch Level 9. That was experience.
That was a great session.
Same here.
Many shout outs to Level 9. If you guys don't know about that podcast, it's Shinjuku Station's own video game podcast. Matter of fact, they just had a new episode drop just recently. So if you head over to Twitter, type in Level NINE on Twitter, and you'll get the links to the latest episode of Level 9, and also the links to the website and whatnot. There's episode 3 just dropped, and there's reviews of games in there like Bioshock Infinite and Gears of War Judgment, and it's hosted by Shinjuku Station's own Shoji Ramaro and The Wonder. So give them some support and check out that show. I'm sure you guys will like it. Great conversations in that show. It's hilarious. But when we come back, we're going to go ahead and get into our current thoughts on the current generation of gaming and what our expectations and our fears are for the upcoming consoles. We'll be back in a few minutes here on Barbeque Night.
Yeah, well, that was interesting.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Xbox One.
TV experience. TV and movies. TV. Xbox. Watch TV. TV. TV, TV, watch TV, 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 TV remote, TV experience, TV, 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 sports TV, TV, TV. Anybody? TV, TV, MTV, TV, 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 TV. Xbox, go home.
TV, 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 TV.
Sports, 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 sports,
Sports. Sport, television. Television, TV, television.
Television, 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 TV, TV, TV. Xbox is about to become the next water cooler. Sports.
Television, television, television. I'm thrilled to announce a live-action Halo television series.
Television, TV, sports, sports, sport.
Television, TV. TV, TV, TV.
For Call of Duty,
Call of Duty, Call of Duty, Call of Duty, an entirely new Call of Duty for the next generation. Call of Duty, Call of Duty, Call of Duty, Call of Duty,
Call of Duty, Call of Duty. One of the fascinating new additions to your squad is a dog. This is someone you care about. Call of Duty, 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 Call of Duty. All of the new story element. Call of Duty,
Call of Duty, Call of Duty, Call of Duty, Call of Duty, Call of Duty.
Our new dog model is taken from high-resolution scans of an actual SEAL Team service dog.
Call of Duty, Call of Duty, Call of Duty.
Xbox, go home.
I hear you got yourself a brand new addiction. You like to shake it till the walls fall down. On the floor, glowing like an apparition. Stomping and screaming to the brand new. On the floor, glowing like an apparition. Stomping and screaming to the brand new sound. Don't it bring you to your knees? And you just do what you needed tonight. Body light shine blue and red. Get up and go. Get up and go. Get up.
So last week we got the date for Microsoft's launch of the Xbox One. Actually, it's one date for 13 different territories, and that is November 22nd. Coming later than Sony. Not something I actually expected. I thought Sony may have really kind of opened the door for Microsoft to get the console out 1 or 2 weeks early and just get that extra attention ahead of, you know, the great deal of popularity and, well, confidence that's surrounding the PlayStation 4. Is this hurting them? I don't know, but I'm not 100% confident with some of the ideas are coming out of going out 1 week later. The statement that Microsoft is giving is that it's the same date that they launched the Xbox 360. I would like to think that sort of nostalgia doesn't really dictate massive business decisions of that matter. I wish there was a different story that could have been told. It does make me wonder. There's two reasons you would go later, and that is supply, and that is everything ready? You know, be it an OS, be it firmware. Obviously the hardware, what's under that hood, is gonna be done up until that time. Of course, that is me speculating, but when you have the more expensive console, you would like to think that you would have it available when you don't have the alternate, cheaper version already on the store shelves. So there has to be some sort of rationale other than fond memories of November 22nd, which never stood out to me until today, as memories of when the Xbox 360 launched. This does make Sony's decision look a little bit more inspired. Now, of course, it comes out in the US first, and actually will be coming out later behind the Xbox One when it arrives in Europe and other territories. Are they really going to lose any traction there? At this point, now I don't think so. They have the cheaper console. They really seem to have people's mind share really focused on them. There's a lot of enthusiasm around it. Dates are just not the determining factor. We are finally now to the point where I think some of the most key elements are going to come into play, and that is supply. A lot of you know what you want to get, but there's going to be a larger audience that hasn't thought too much about it. And if only one of the two consoles is available when they walk into a store, that could be the determining factor. So, are they able to manufacture them fast enough? Are all the parts they are supposed to be getting to build these consoles coming at a steady rate? This should be very interesting and very exciting, but for a lot of people, potentially disappointing.
Welcome back to welcome back to Barbeque Night. This is Sober Ryu, and I'm joined by my panel, Varnis, Dalo,
Hello.
and Doctor from the SSAA podcast. What's up, fellas?
Pretty good. Nothing too different.
Well, welcome back. And we're continuing our conversation about the console wars. Pretty much our what influence it's had on us. What we've enjoyed, what we've seen, what we've thought about the whole rigmarole over the last couple of decades when it comes to gaming. And now we've gotten to modern day gaming. I guess we should touch upon the Wii for a moment, although I'm not sure there's much to say.
Do you mean the Wii or the Wii U?
Well, we'll get to the Wii U. That I consider future gaming because even though it's here, it's technically a part of the next generation. So we'll definitely get to that. But anybody own a Wii at all? Anybody?
Yes. I did. Yeah.
Man, so how long did you play before it started to sit on your shelf and collect dust?
There was that initial fervor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Probably
what I like to call the
3
love
years.
affair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was that period where I'm just like, yeah, I'm having fun with you, but you're kind of making my arms feel tired. I gotta put you down for a sec.
Oh man, you too?
Yeah.
I swear to God, the Wii is like the pet rock of gaming, son. It just is. It's like whoa, this is fascinating, man. But this is all it does. Oh man, I'm gonna move on to.
If anything, it's more of a chia pet of gaming. It did something for a little bit, but then after a while, it's like, what the fuck am I having this green thing here? Let me just throw this out.
Touche, Doc. Touche. But yeah, it was a fascinating system, and it did show us kind of the future of motion gaming. I do commend the system for that. It's just it just got besieged by shovelware, and Nintendo didn't support it as much as they should have. It's just that people are going to go out and get it because we're going to try to market to the casual gamer. So why even try? Why even try?
I think part of the problem is that it was a pretty old. It was in terms of its graphics, they were pretty primitive. And to Nintendo's credit, it worked for them personally.
Yeah.
But for third-party developers who were going into HD graphics and just higher-end gaming, their games ultimately at the end of the day became incompatible with the system. Mm-hmm. I feel the system could run something like, even if it was at a very low resolution and very primitive graphics, if it could have gotten things like Mass Effect or some of those third-party things like Mass Effect examples, I think it would have been okay, or at least it would have been not as like shuffleware as everybody claimed it to have.
Well, I mean, that's the problem with that system is that it was behind the times, and Nintendo kind of went into the next generation, being it's versus the PS3 and the Xbox 360, kind of kicking and screaming. They didn't really want to make much of a leap from the GameCube to the Wii, so they kind of took just a small step with that system. I guess the big sell was the motion gaming, but when that system couldn't deliver HD graphics or couldn't bring us any more features, besides the motion gaming, it just became a novelty. And then they weren't even quick to embrace online gaming all that well. Sure, the system had built-in Wi-Fi, but its networking capabilities was ass.
Pretty much.
It rarely existed. I mean, the thing is, I played the games that were on there, and it's kind of what the Wii U is suffering from as well, where it pretty much, the Mario games were pretty much all that was it there.
Yeah.
At least there's nothing else that I actually saw that actually made me want to get more stuff. In fact, like, there was a lot more Japanese games that I wanted, and surprisingly, some of those were port of PSP games. Go figure.
Wow.
Yeah, ironically. Yeah, so the thing is with the Wii, it had some really good games, and there are some interesting games on it, like and I'll mention a few gems here, like Fragile Dreams, which is kind of like a Silent Hill emotional journey game in some ways. The gameplay is kind of basic. It's really into that motion game. You're not going to be swinging all over the place. It's just a matter of like you aiming at the screen, looking around, pointing at stuff like a detective, and actually pressing A and X or something or stuff like that to actually do attacks. And it's actually an interesting game, but the problem is that's one of the very few games out there, I think. And then you got things like Xenoblade coming from Nintendo, coming at the end of the life cycle, that were pretty good, but at the same time, Nintendo didn't put them out there, and those things came at the end of them. I think honestly, the other thing is that if it had the Wii U Motion Plus at the beginning, I think it would have been a very different system from the get-go if you had that. And then there's only one real game that actually supports the Motion Plus, and that is Wind Waker Skyward Sword.
Yeah,
that's the only real game that supports that thing, and it works amazingly.
To its fullest extent, at least.
Yeah, like if you had Skyward Sword at the beginning, as opposed to having Twilight Princess at the beginning, I think it would have changed that system's life. But that's my feeling on it.
But that is this like stubbornness. I feel like that from it's like it is this weird endless cycle that you have to see that it is people don't want to make anything for it because they don't see anything creative out of it because no one's made it already.
Yeah.
So it is this thing where if you without the quote killer app, the thing that really makes the thing work, that highlights here's the possibilities of what you can do with this hardware, no one was willing to go out. And stuff like the sword thing. I already forgot the name of it because I'm an asshole. Skyward Sword, stuff like that's coming so late enough in its run where everyone's pretty much already deemed it as this like it's the Nintendo system that has those Nintendo games and that's kind of it and nothing else much. Stuff like there are crazy gems like No More Heroes out there, which they utilize that the motion in the best way possible. I don't know how to explain it, but the best way to do is when you have to recharge your thing, it's the best. Honestly, it's.
When you gotta shake it up and down.
Yeah, that's
in a suggestive manner.
Yes, suggestive.
Exactly.
Stuff like that was really and
you have things like Mad World being made by Platinum Games on that by Sega too.
Yeah, towards the end of its cycle, a few more hardcore games were coming out for it, but yeah, man, that beginning where it just catered to all these casual people and just came out with a ton of shovelware, man, it buried that system, and there was nothing on the shelf really of note, and when there was something of note, people just overlooked it. Shout out to Tsunami, by the way, for putting in suggestions of games on the Wii that were dope, like Tatsunoko vs. Capcom, which is what made me want to buy the system. No surprise there, but I went out of my way to get a Wii thanks to my wife.
Yeah, he mentions Mario Musa as well, which got ported to Vita, which I played on Vita, and that's actually pretty fun. So, and ironically enough, from what I've heard, it actually sold better on Vita than it did on the Wii U. I mean, on the Wii. Go figure.
Because no one's looking for it on the Wii. Not a soul, man. You have to be like following that game. It's like, yo, it's coming out on the Wii, man. I can't wait to get this. And like maybe 5 people bought it. But then
It looks sick as hell. It's kind of like Okami, sort of, maybe.
Exactly. It's like that game would have benefited if it was just ported digitally to like every other console. If they could have ported not only to the Vita but like to the PSN, so people could download and play it on the PS3 or on Xbox 360 in the live arcade. Shit, that game probably would have sold a whole lot better. And I'm sure as Dollar, you said it sold well on the Vita, so thank God it had a second chance. But I just think of all the games on the Wii that couldn't get a second chance because that system already burned way too many bridges with the hardcore gaming audience that would have bought those games.
Well, as Doc said, without the quote-unquote killer app, you know the killer app with the Wii was Wii Sports, which came with every single Wii.
You're right.
Well, or even the one that wasn't even bundled with the Wii would probably have been Mario Kart Wii.
That's true. That game did so well.
Yeah, but I heard it was kind of an iffy game. I heard a lot of people didn't like it.
Well, it was the most expensive Wii game out there. I think it was what like $100. I think.
Does it still hold its value? Because it came with the wheel. It came with that little plastic wheel that you could put the controller into. So, but
Yeah,
I mean,
a wheel that I didn't even need.
Oh wow!
It's the plastic gimmick. That's all that's there. It's I mean, if anything, it's great. It's good for marketing. Yeah.
But yeah, the Wii, man. My biggest gripe with it was the online gaming because after getting a 360, I became pretty much sold on online gaming and being that I play games that are in more of a competitive nature, I want to be able to play online with people. So the Wii really seemed like an island. You could watch Netflix on it, which was cool, and that's what many people ended up doing, being that they weren't playing games on it anymore. Once they fell out of love with Wii Bowling, what else was to do in that system?
Yeah, but it goes into the other side of that problem, which is that it can do Netflix, which is good too, but it can't do HD Netflix.
Exactly, but I mean, yeah, the system can't output HD at all. Even though it did have component out, it's still only 480. So,
yeah, it did have progressive scan, but that's kind of gone the way of the dodo now, I think.
Yeah, pretty much. That system was behind the times when it came out, except for its motion gaming, and it sucks because Nintendo used to be pretty strong. The GameCube, its predecessor was a system I loved. That system had so many great games on it, and the fact that the Wii was just a GameCube 1.5.
Yeah.
And
I actually remember now when I was talking about getting a GameCube. I actually remember I didn't actually get a GameCube. I got a Wii. That's what I fucking got.
Oh well, shit.
Hey, it plays a GameCube game, so that's all that matters.
Exactly.
True. And to the Wii's benefit, that was actually a pretty cool feature that you could play GameCube games in it. So at least shout out to the Wii for that. But I guess that puts us going in to the next system, the Xbox 360, man. I know that some people on this panel own it and some people don't, but I will go with the person that doesn't. Dalo, I mean, I know you're not crazy about Microsoft, and I know you never owned a 360, but I know you've had some exposure to it. I mean, any thoughts on the 360 overall? What you didn't like about it? What swayed you away from the system, and anything in retrospect?
Well, I'll talk about what, at the beginning, which is some things I liked and some things I don't like. So I'll be positive on the system first. Like,
sure.
When I first saw the system coming out, I did want to get it because I think I remember wanting to play Knights of the Old Republic on it, and I really wanted to play that system. And I ended up not getting the system because I kept hearing like all these horror stories of Red Rings of Death, and like a lot. I do remember one of my Toys R Us's would have they had a 58% fail rate for all their Xbox 360s, and a lot of other places weren't too far behind that. So I basically just stayed away from the console, and I pretty much stayed away from next generation stuff for at least a long while, and I ended up going into other things like anime and stuff like that. Yeah. And talking about things that I did like, I applaud the system having it. It has its own audience where it's basically online gaming and first-person shooters and get-togethers essentially. Like, as Sobro puts it, a social console essentially.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the main thing I really didn't like about it at the time is that didn't necessarily make a lot of sense to me was paying online essentially. Whereas like with the PS3, and mind you, for the record, everybody, and this still is the same with me, is playing online gameplay to me is a secondary experience. It's nice, but it's not the big thing for me.
Right.
And I don't know. I just never felt I was never feeling the system to me, and I wanted to get the PS3 more because again, I'm going to mention it. The reason I wanted the PS3 was because of Valkyria Chronicles. That was the game that really swayed me to get that system finally. So, and everybody's heard me talk about it, so I won't go into it more. These days, though, I don't feel particularly strong about it because nowadays, when in terms of online, the thing that really convinces me is online retail, which is why I wasn't too high on the Wii. And the PS3 had more retro games that I were more interested in playing, like older PS1 games.
Right.
Which is why I got into it. I don't give anybody crap for having a 360. If you have it, then that's for you. I mean, I just chose not to go with it because the PS3 it's what I need. The PS3 does everything I need to do. It's a Blu-ray player, does Netflix, it's got YouTube on it. It's got everything I basically need for it, and I can still play my PS1 games on it. That's the thing, which I find ironic about it. But at the end of the day, it's just a simple thing for me. So, and it has more. And at the end of the day, it has more exclusives to it. Whether people think those exclusives are worthwhile, it's up to them. Plus, I'm not a big shooter guy. Like, I'm not big on Halo. I'm not big on Gears of War. And the few shooters I do play, I only play like a few of them. Like Kills, I'm just started getting into Killzone, and Uncharted was a game I play. But Uncharted is not even a shooter to me. It's a platformer. So I don't. And someday I will say this. I will end up getting a 360 because I still want to play the few exclusives that it does have.
Yeah.
Like the biggest one I can really think of is Tales of Vesperia because I don't think we're going to get it for PS3 here in the West. And if we do, I'll be shot. But I do want to. But I do want to play that game, if only because of that. So it just comes down to the fact that like the PS3, just for me, it feels is much more. It's just better for me personally. That's all there is to it. So I know a lot of people might disagree, and I know I've had a lot of people try and convince me to actually get the system just so I could play with them. And it's like I don't need to play with you to have fun with my console. Like, I understand you want to play together, but you just want to kick my ass and rub it in my face.
There you go.
So it's like I just stay away from all that stuff. But I'm kind of done. Like, if I come out with some other stuff, I'll talk about it later. But yeah. I think I'll let you guys have the floor now.
No problem, Doc. Xbox 360, man. What are your thoughts on this current generation of gaming from Microsoft?
It's been okay. I feel like when I transitioned to the 360, it was pretty much smooth. Like, I didn't have too much of a worry. At least what the games I was able to play on there was good. But even there were times where there were some lulls in there. It was like, okay, I had a bunch of stuff, and I didn't even get a PS3 until way later. Like way later. I think I was like
same.
You sound like me.
Yeah, not as bad as you.
Oh.
Like, I got it way before you, dude.
Well,
but my shit still even has like at least the one I think it's still running. Yeah, it's back here. Still has that whole capability of playing the old PS2 games stuff.
Oh, you bastard!
Yeah.
You got the backwards compatible.
Hell yeah!
I've got the slim, so I got slim pickings.
I still got my PS2, so I'm good.
Yeah, but like getting through like the 360 and getting everything, yeah, like it pretty much was that consistent thing where, I mean, despite the I guess the audience that is there, Halo was one of those things that always kept it around. Like being able to play on there, online with all my friends was the one thing that constantly kept me going with that system. And I did still enjoy it. And I still have the damn thing. It still works. It's fine. It's great. Yeah. But even I'm like, I've gotten to this point now, and especially in this generation where everything's just so, at least in this same kind of platform. Like, obviously we're at the end of it now. We're in this course where we're all in the
end at this point.
I know, like we're at the end of the course where we're all in the same plateau. Like everything's pretty much even now. That we're even in the games that I saw that were exclusive to one to another, there were very few and far between. I mean, stuff like Blue Dragon, I did enjoy on the Xbox, but there was stuff that I was only able to get on PS4. So like that's where I was able to now sort it out. Where okay, what if I'm going to buy this game, which is in multi-platforms? Which is the one that I know I'm probably going to be using Xbox Live, where all my friends are. So I usually go to the ones where my friends go to. That's pretty much how now the systems have been, I guess, controlling me, is where I go where my friends go, more or less. So like, and I think we pretty much more or less were able to stick towards the 360 for a while, but then like it slowly shifted more to the PS3. So my choices have changed here and there. Some of them I'm like consistent on for no reason, for stupid reasons. I will be consistent on one thing. It's like why I don't get any Metal Gear Solid games on the Xbox because it just looks weird for me. Things like that. I've gotten to the point where it's just like small weird things. If I know I'm gonna play online, I'll stick with the 360 specifically. If I'm gonna play online with multiplayer with people, or if it's like a sports title or something like that, I always fluctuate. But even now, which will get to PC gaming in a bit, which has kind of taken over a lot where I go to now. But I still enjoy it. Every once in a while I do like to turn it on. Ooh, let's go play something on here that I know I won't play in any other system.
Oh jeez. It's become the antique on the shelf. Much like the Wii at this point for you. I mean, at least you still have use for it, but
of course.
Well, the thing is with the PS3, I feel in comparison to the 360, and I'm not downtroding the 360, but of the three, like of the Wii, especially the Wii, the 360 and the PS3 looks like it's going to have a longer, and we've all noticed this with Sony systems, they tend to have a bigger life cycle even when the new console comes out. I mean, look at the PS2, that thing would not die, and there are still games coming out for the PS3. So, I think it just comes down to the fact, like, generally it's for a while that's going to be how it is because a lot of people are not going to be able to move to the newer generation.
I'll give it a year at least. I mean, I don't see Microsoft really. They're one to just cut and run. Like, okay, new thing out, boom. What was this Xbox? What? I don't know. 360?
We'll see how they hold up. So far, they said they're gonna. I think at least as far as online, they'll keep the system alive for at least a good 2 years, if not more.
Yeah, but as far as like supporting with newer games, it's not going to be much. At least for a little while, but not going to be long.
I think that with the 360, the main thing they got to support is the online thing. At least until they feel like they have a big enough install base on the Xbone before they move on.
Yeah,
I'll talk about that later.
Indeed, Varnis, what was your impressions of the Xbox 360?
Well, I don't know why, but like I got this thing at launch. I got a few games for it. Like I got Perfect Dark Zero and Dead or Alive 4 with it, and it was.
Yeah, I forgot about those games.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's like I slowly got a library of at least 70 games for it eventually, and but I don't know why, but like just like Dodo, I keep hearing these horror stories about Red Ring of Death, and for some reason it just never happened to me. I'm like, is this the one thing that just doesn't happen to me?
Oh no, it happened to me.
Happened to me too.
Happened to me. I was like, oh my goodness.
I guess it's kind of like the equivalent when we were talking about earlier. Solbro ended up getting PlayStation consoles that burned out lasers, and I have consoles that I have my PlayStation consoles that's never done that before.
But it was weird because it never happened to me or my console specifically, but I go to see like my friends' houses and we'd see it just Red Ring of Death, and we actually saw what would actually cause it. I'm like, oh, you idiots! You need to take care of your console a lot more.
I remember it was 2 minutes into the opening sequence of Dead Rising when my 360 burned out.
Nice. Dead
Rising?
I was like,
yes.
Oh my god.
The original Dead Rising?
Yeah, the original Dead Rising. It took me a while to actually start playing that game again.
I know that when I have a when my system red ring the first time, I don't remember what I was playing. I think I popped in a movie or something. I'm not sure what, but the first time it red ringed, it was just because I had it for so long, and so I sent it back, and it was still within warranty. So luckily enough, they were able to swap it out. And when they did, I only had it for 1 week, and Show came over with Dead Space, and popped that motherfucker in my system. And he was in an elevator, like it was the opening stage. He went to an elevator, and that shit glitched the fuck up. It's like, yo, is that what's supposed to happen? He said, fuck no, man. And then we look at the front of the Xbox, and the red ring flashed, and it's like, motherfucker, I just got this back.
Yo.
And
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
heard-
shit.
I've heard. That's the story I've heard. Like everybody, like, so I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just this generation, but I've heard stories of like both. And I'm going to say it both on 360 and PS3 of people being on their 5th or 6th console of that particular console.
Nah, I've been lucked out where I've at least been on my second. I still have. Oh no, I think I gave away that old 360 that red ringed. At some way they fixed it, but eventually I'm like, I need something with more space, and I end up getting the Slims when they first got announced. So I got like a new 360 Slim after that.
At least with the 360 Slim, it has a built-in like heater monitor. So if it's gonna it gets to a point where it's about to overheat, it'll shut off and let it cool off.
That's one of the reasons I bought a Slim. I recently I sold my my old system and bought a Slim, and that's what I have now. But Varnis, before we go on to me, Varnis, any other experiences you had, or your overall thoughts on the Xbox 360?
Other than just my my 2 year, 2 year long just charade of playing Halo 3 online, and then and then like, because it was weird because I was playing my 360, but then I'd go back and play my PS2 games, and for some reason I didn't discover my RPGs until PS2, like backtracking,
right,
and then I went and looked for RPGs on the Xbox, and there were a few.
Yeah, that was the main problem I didn't like about the 360.
It was like it had some RPGs that what was it?
Blue Dragon. That's what I had.
Blue Dragon.
Tales of Vesperia.
Yeah, and what was?
I think there was also Infinite Undiscovery from.
Yeah, that was the thing.
I got that as well. I got about 72 games for the 360, so some I haven't even played yet. So I don't know. I'm still not done with that system yet.
Yeah, I guess it's still got a few more miles to go. Although the seams are starting to show in that system. I know with me, when I originally got the system, as many people know, I got it because I wanted to play Gundam Battle Ops. And when I found out that game wasn't coming out, at that same time, I ran into a little bit of hardship, so I had to sell my Xbox 360. So I was without that console for about a few months, and then I just got in the Wii. Thanks to Show, I got to give him thanks because he's the one who sold me on the 360 to begin with. When I wasn't even considering getting one because I couldn't afford any of the new systems. I just moved out of my apartment, moved in with my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, and we had some really expensive bills. So it was hard for me to like plunk down a few $100 to get any console. The best we had at the time was a PlayStation 2, and it was my wife's, not even mine. So when we were living in the house we were renting, Show said, man, you really need to get back into gaming. So I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to buy an Xbox 360 for you because it's got this great networking feature. You can get on a headset and talk to us and play some Ghost Recon and some other shit. And I know you want that new Gundam game coming out. So that's what he did. He was working at our friend's video game store, Cybertron Video Games at the time. Bought an Xbox 360 for me. And he told me I could pay him back at my leisure. So that's what I did. Then later on I found out that Gundam Battle Ops wasn't coming out. And the most I was playing on it at the time was the Street Fighter game that came out, the Hyper Fighting port that came out on Xbox Live Arcade. and that was exciting to play. But I realized how much Hyper Fighting sucked in comparison to other versions of Street Fighter, so I didn't play it for very long. But I played a little Ghost Recon, and Uno was another great game on there that I played online. So that was my first foray into playing online, and I thought it was awesome. The headset was a nice feature. Xbox Live was good. Paying for gold, it kind of sucked, but I was able to do it. Show gave me a few free months, and eventually I got a year on sale. And use that, but eventually hardship came and I had to sell the system, so I was without it for a few months. And then the news of Street Fighter 4 fucking hit, and it's like, holy shit! I just sold my Xbox, and now this is gonna come out for both that system and the PS3. So I already had an Xbox Live account, and I had a bunch of friends on there. I played in Hyper Fighting, so it's like I got to get an Xbox again. I still had a Wii. And I kept it because my wife liked to play on it, but even she fell out of love with it. So during the Christmas of, was it 2007? I think. Yeah, it was Christmas 2007. We knew this dude that used to work at the game store with us in modified systems, and we were selling like hotcakes, and he was modifying them. So he said, "Look, I'll trade you a modified Xbox 360 for that Wii." And it's like, "Fuck yes, let's go." So I got the 360 back, and I've had a 360 ever since. And I built up quite a few followers, a few friends on there, and played a lot of fighting games on that system. And I think it's great. I wanted a PS3, but I didn't have an HD TV, and I wanted to wait until we got one in order to be able to take advantage of the Blu-ray player inside. So my wife and I eventually got one of those in 2010. But 360's been good to me, man. I know playing online on that system is awesome. I know that a lot of people don't like to pay for online service, but you do get what you pay for. And when it comes down to playing on Xbox Live, there's not a lot of lag to speak of. A lot of the older systems you have to jack into or use a Wi-Fi adapter if you want to go out and buy one. But more often than not, you find more people who are directly connected to their Xbox on Ethernet than you would in a Wi-Fi situation, unlike PS3. I know that my cousins and I have argued about the whole paying for online play, because he's a stalwart PS3 type of dude, and he didn't like having to pay for gold. So we argue about that shit all the time. But I've become fine with it because I want to have someone answer to me if the service doesn't work. I remember that one month that PSN went down, and nobody could get on to do shit.
That was fun.
Oh my god! And it's like, damn, if this happened on Xbox Live, it would be a fucking riot, because people are paying for online service. They'd have to fix this toot sweet, and I don't want to be at the mercy of a company to do that. So it was nice to every so often there'd be crises on Xbox Live, but they wouldn't last more than a day or two. I think there was one particular time there was a week where the service was down. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, you guys, but yeah, it was It really haven't had too many of an outage, but the system's been good to me. I have a host of games for it, and although it seems it's starting to show when it comes to the graphical power in the system and what it can and cannot do in comparison to PS3, but it's brought about a lot of innovation with Netflix
for better or worse.
Well, I mean, I would say so. I mean, I was talking about online gaming. Online gaming, true. I love talking to people in huge groups, and that chat feature that Xbox Live has is a very nice feature to use, where you can like cross game chat. That's awesome. Netflix first premiered on there, and that was a huge selling point. It kind of sucks that you have to have Xbox Gold to use it, but at the time when it was exclusive to that system, that was the only way you could do it, and I already had Gold at the time, so it wasn't much of a problem. That's when I signed up to Netflix for the first time, and I haven't stopped since. Just to see all the things that Microsoft was willing to do in order to innovate new features for just online gaming was pretty neat to see, and to be at the doorstep of that was an awesome experience. Sony's gotten some of those features since then, so shout outs to them for also implementing that on their system too. But that's my experience on the PS3 in a nutshell. I guess that takes us to the PS3, and I will go with Varnis first. Varnis, man, what are your thoughts on the PS3, sir?
PS3 was this was that system that I couldn't get straight away, if only because to me it costed like $750 down in Australia.
Oh, yeah, the Australian dollar. Yeah,
you would make sure you would get 2 jobs for that though, right?
I had one job where I would work, almost every day, but sure.
Sure. All right.
Sure. But yeah, I eventually got one near 2009, and as funny as it sounds, I only got that. I only what maybe cracked down to buy the PS3 was White Knight Chronicles.
Oh.
That's a game.
The level 5 game, yeah.
Yeah, the level 5 game, because it was interesting, and I couldn't find it on the Xbox, so I'm like, fuck it. I might as well get that, as well as some other, I'm like, what else can I find here that I can't find on Xbox? Oh, there's this here. Oh, this. Oh, there's also all this stuff. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then there's because we didn't get many Blu-rays because I know my family was very nitpicky about just transferring from DVD to Blu-ray, and it was it was the whole thing of we've already got this movie, why do we need to buy it twice, and that kind of thing.
That double dipping, son.
Double dipping, yes.
And we're starting to experience that with video games now today. So
that's true.
Indeed, and
although to our credit, we're only experiencing it for the first time now. So.
Yeah, kind of, and I got but the thing was, I didn't I had access to a PS3 beforehand, but that was because my little brother had it, and he played nothing but Call of Duty on it, so that was I'd stay away from that and his system because I want because I had the 360, he had the PS3, and I'm like, okay, you stay away from my system, I'll stay away from your system, and all that kind of stuff, because and it was interesting. I just bought my own PS3 and played a few games for it. I think for the first few months, I only had 3 or 4 games for it, and then the very next year, I ended up getting about another 50 games for it, and then come to the day, I'm still buying games for it.
Hey, you warmed up to it, man.
Oh yeah, and that's probably like that one moment where I just felt like I've got all the consoles. It's beautiful.
It's like an achievement.
It was that achievement. It was that achievement where it's like like true diplomacy. You have achieved it.
True diplomacy. Indeed, sir.
That does it to you, Tsunami.
Shout outs to him. Doc, man, your PS3 adventure, sir.
Well, like I mentioned, I started with the 360 event. It took some time before I actually ended up getting a PS3. I unlocked a trophy right there.
Oh, look at
that! Sorry, everybody. That was my email notification. I got an email. I'm sorry. It kind of sort of ties in as well. This is weird. One of the things that I was like what really more or less got me still going to the 360 were achievements. It's a stupid thing. It is the stupidest thing of the world. But but for some reason, things like that was what kind of slowly got me more into wanting to play some of those 360 games. And it took some time eventually when the PS3 started rolling out their trophy system. And the games that were on there, we usually, there were very few in the beginning, and eventually it became standardized now. But it didn't become standard, if I remember, until 2009, late 2009.
Yeah, and that's around the time when I actually wanted to actually get one, because I think at the time there wasn't really that many games that I really wanted from the PS3. The one game that I knew for sure that I had to get was Metal Gear Solid 4. That was
everybody's reason to get it.
That was priority number one. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna get this. I know for sure. So I think that's when around the time that was 2008. So it was still even a year before. It was then I was like, okay, what can I play? And it just so happens that something like Uncharted was there. So I was like, okay, this is fun. And I kind of kept going. I was like, hey, this is really good. Hopefully they make more of it. And eventually they did. And I was like, yay. And I think Devil May Cry 4, I was like, okay, I'll get this one on the PS3 because you know, at that point I was like, I didn't matter which one I felt like it, so I was like, I was like, what? Again, it ties into like I like it to be consistent, so it was like I already played all the other stuff.
My friend calls it console continuity.
Yeah, exactly. Where it's like I already played Devil May Cry on all the PS2s, so I was like, I might as well have it on the PS3. Stupid, but whatever. It's little things like that that kind of started slowly getting me more into the PS3 side. And again, it like I reiterated where it was the thing where like I will go to whatever it is my friends will go. I think Rock Band was also somewhat of a factor because I got like the Guitar Hero games, you know, those rhythm games at the time, Guitar Hero, and I think Rock Band. I think it was
what are those?
Yeah. Where I got the equipment set up for my 360, but everyone else got it for the PS3. So I was like, I felt left out, sort of, but even so, I was like, I was able to. I was like, okay, probably I'll maybe get more PS3 games, and eventually I did, and it kind of more or less snowballed into that, and then it got to the point where like, okay, now I just flip coins. Whatever I decide to do, I'll go with that. But I mean, I still use it to this day. Everything that I have on there has been fun. There's still games I still need to finish. I still have Last of Us. I still need to finish. It's still on there, and I haven't gotten the chance to. And it kind of also leads into probably discussion about like digital distribution and stuff like that, because that is a big factor for me specifically.
Yeah, same for me. Especially if you're a Plus fan like I am, where basically you use that as something to broaden your video games experience.
Yeah, but go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, I was just gonna say PlayStation Plus is pretty cool because it does give you access to games that you would normally you have to go out and buy, and if you have a subscription for that, you can be able to
I feel with the demise of things like Blockbuster and Hollywood Video and things like that, video game rental services. Yeah. I think that Plus it fills in that gap nicely where those would normally be. I think that's really what we really want, is just to try and sample games, because asking us to take a risk on $60 games is kind of asking a lot.
Yeah. And like PSN borrowed trophies after being inspired by the achievements on Xbox Live. Xbox Live in turn borrowed the idea of giving people free games with Xbox Live subscriptions because PS Plus was doing it. So if anything, I'm glad. That they both have something to learn from each other.
The difference with like I think it's called games with gold. I think that's what they do.
Yeah. Yep.
They call the difference is that once you download those games off the 360, is that you're able to keep them even if you're not subscribed to the service anymore. Unlike on the PlayStation Plus side of things, where if you're not subscribed, you're not able to play those games anymore.
Right.
But on the flip side, you never paid for them in the first place, so it's kind of a weird feeling about it. The difference between the two is that even though, and I'm sure I'll get different stuff down the line, but at least with the PlayStation Plus, you have a lot of variety on it. Like with me, you get on the averages, you get 2 PS3 games, 1 PSP game, a PSN indie game, and a PlayStation Vita game, for $50 a month. Not $50.
Holy shit! No,
sorry,
it's a year, right?
It's $50 a year, which makes it $10 less than an Xbox 360 account.
Yeah.
And it applies to all your consoles, and it'll eventually apply to your PS4, which is why I kind of like it. Which is why I put an emphasis on online retail more than I do on my online gaming. It's just the fact that they added online gaming to me. It doesn't really affect me. Part of that is because I'm set until 2017.
Jesus. Well, Doc, any last thoughts before we move on to Dalo?
No, I think it's solid system. I think the reason I got it was I bought into the potential. It's as simple as that. I think despite me knowing that I have a 360 that pretty much does everything that it probably could use already at the time, it was the idea of like, okay, I know I could possibly do this. I can eventually get this. Something eventually will come out that will use this to its fullest extent. And obviously, Metal Gear Solid was a good example of that. And knowing like, okay, I also have a Blu-ray player. And I kind of run a thing about animes. So eventually that would come to the point where like I want to see my stuff as high def as I possibly can because I love it in my face. All of my face. Yeah, all of it, all over my face, neck, and chest, all over it.
Shout out to the Blu-ray because it's because of the PS3 that it took out HD DVD.
Yeah, that
I
was
remember that was a thing for a while.
Yeah, that was a battle I knew. I was like, I'll be safe.
Even actually came up as a topic in Tropic Thunder. That's a great scene. What's his Robert Downey Jr. says, "Are you still talking to me?" When that guy's going on, I should use that clip tonight. Holy shit! But yeah,
That's it.
No problem, Dalo. Any other thoughts on the PS3?
I think it's a solid system. I will admit that it was a pretty high-end system, like at the beginning, and to its credit, it's still going to be living on long after the PS4. I feel with it, and the thing why I bought into it, and I think I got it like in 2002, like just before 2011. I ended up getting it because I wanted to play Valkyria Chronicles on it, and that's really the reason why I went to the PS3 because it still had a lot of Japanese games which I had a taste for.
Yeah.
So, and I still have a taste for that, and then I would argue that's more of a taste for me. Although with this past generation, I've also developed a taste for different Western games that have been made, like Arkham City and like open world adventure games, basically. So. I guess in some ways, thanks to the PS3, I've also been able to at least diversify what I like, and which is why I like the system so much. Is that it has a very diverse library. I mean, you have your shooters and your platformers on it, but they're all very, very different to say the least. And I would argue that it still has a better library than the 360 in terms of its diversity and the amount of things you can pick from. And I mean, I'm still playing. I just recently got Puppeteer, which is basically a 2D, a 3D, 2D, a 2D platformer essentially, and that's really fun. And that game alone shows me that there's still a lot of life in that system. It just so happens we're going to be moving on to a new system as well. So I don't see any reason why I would get it. Plus, again, because I have Plus, I'm still getting gains for it. So I'm buying into free video game entertainment that's going to be offered to me. So I know a lot. I was kind of curious about having to pay to play online.
Yeah.
But by the time that I can understand like for people like you, Sober and Doc, I know for a fact you guys are not Plus people on PSN yet.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel that for people who don't have a Plus account, I can understand why it's a little harder to get into it, and for me as well, I had to really buy into it. Eventually, though, when you get into it, it will actually pay off. The only thing is you have to have an appetite for different experiences, to say the least.
Yeah.
So, and no offense to you, Sober, you also play generally strictly just very few things outside of a fighting game, but that's what you want. I understand that's what you want to play.
Yeah, which is cool. I mean, I make no bones about it. My taste to go.
Yeah, and I'm not
games.
chastising you.
Oh no, let's go. It's either fighting games or arcade games, like games I can jump in and out of easily. It's funny when I got a PS3. I did get Metal Gear Solid 4. For it, but I have yet to finish it, and I owe that game at least that much to go through it all and beat the shit out of it, because I love the story of Metal Gear, and throughout the games. I mean, I'm not crazy about 2, but 3 and 4 are pretty amazing, and I do want to go through that game. That's what sold me on the system, besides the Blu-ray player. I've got it, and I play an occasional game on it. Most of the games I have on it, I also have on the Xbox, mainly because I like fighting games and I like to play online with people. So there's a different host of people that are on PS3 as opposed to the people I play on Xbox 360. On Xbox 360. So it's just nice to have a wider swath of competition to go against. I know certain games are better on PS3, like anything that's not made by Capcom. And then on the Xbox 360, all my Capcom fighters have a better way of playing. So
which is ironic because Evo says otherwise.
Yeah. Well, no.
Well, now they switched it.
They acknowledged it actually. It's just that they already had like a bunch of PS3s in their stable for the Evolution tournament. And so it was kind of hard to make that transition from
So they're going to
PS3
actually.
to Xbox
So they're
360.
well.
but
I
yeah.
said when I said they feel differently is because I'm sure they're aware of it, but they're stuck with the PS3.
They were stuck. Yeah, they were pretty much stuck, and they weren't prepared to make that switch. So, what's the uproar happened in the fighting game community about Capcom fighters not playing very well on the PS3, and people demanding for them to switch to Xbox? That would have been a Herculean effort, but they did announce with their latest release trailer for the Evo 2014 that will the Capcom games will be on Xbox 360. So.
They pulled a Microsoft and went back.
They did indeed. But yeah, I mean, I like the I like the PS3. I'm fine with it now. I didn't really have a bias against it. It was so expensive, and again, I wasn't in a position to really buy a system. And the two systems I had, the Wii and the Xbox 360, helped me get those. So I wasn't about to ask him to help me get a PS3. So once Christmas of 2010 was rolling around, my wife and I, as a treat to ourselves, we bought ourselves a PS3 for Christmas. So it was nice to finally have one in the home and finally watch Blu-rays on it and play all sorts of games. So I'm happy.
I also think that part of the problem when you were talking about cost is as we're getting older, we're having to buy these things ourselves. So we kind of have to be a little bit more picky choosy, to say the least.
Yeah.
When it comes to the money.
Exactly. But
I can remember buying a second PS3 just earlier this year, if only because of one fucking game.
What game is that?
Persona 4 Arena.
Did you finally get it, man? Did you finally get it?
We finally got it, but here's the funny thing: because I bought that that North American PS3 with that game when I was traveling in America. As soon as I got back to Australia, it just came out.
Wow.
I feel bad for everybody who's just now. I feel bad for everybody who's just getting it now. Because I think as it just released in Europe and all those territories, they announced Persona 4 Arena 2.
Damn.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
The update. Yeah.
The inevitable update, which I'm sure is going to be DLC. I don't know.
I don't think it's gonna. It's as far as I know, I don't think it's a DLC copy. I think it's an ultimate, like the equivalent of Persona 4, Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Ultimate.
Or Blaze Blue.
Or Blaze Blue, or
the only difference is I think it actually is a fully formed story, but I think it is actually a full update.
Well,
yeah, it probably is, but yeah, that like again, I now have two PS3s thanks to that game.
Well, damn. My heart goes out to you for that. I almost got. I know Doc is in that vortex right now with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
I don't care. I'm buying it again.
Double dip it, son. Let's go. Oh my
God. I'm sure if it's a digital distribution title, I'm sure it'll be cheaper, so it won't be too much of a problem.
Nice.
Yeah.
But
yeah, of course, and shout outs to myself because I want to stroke my ego because I remember telling Soulbro this, and I think Doc was there too about the anime news network article that said that Bandai Namco trademarked All Star Battle.
Yeah.
Way back in September of 2007.
God damn.
Way back in it was September 7th, 2012.
Mm-hmm.
And I said and I always said it's gonna come out. I have a feeling it's gonna come out.
It was one of those things where I knew it was gonna come out, but I didn't care. So
yeah, if you're a hardcore fan, you'll hardcore. I'm just saying, I knew it was gonna come out from the very beginning.
Well, and Doc's been saying that he had that PlayAsia website open for like months.
Yeah, it was there waiting for it. It wasn't until the day before it was gonna come out. I was like, screw it.
I'm going all in.
Yeah, all in, and then mistakes were made months later.
Nice.
I don't care. I don't mind buying again.
Well,
it's a good thing. It's a good thing you weren't playing against Derby then.
Nice.
Yeah, if anything, I can borrow that one to someone else because it's actual physical copy. So
yeah,
no biggie.
Absolutely.
I'll take that with me on the road.
And at least trophies will be in English.
Oh yeah, don't worry. It's very easy to get trophies. It's not going to be a problem.
Well, I'm just saying, it's sometimes I remember somebody was playing the Japanese version of the Hatsune Miku game, and they were kind of frustrated. It's I don't understand how to get these trophies. So it's you would play a game and it's I just randomly got a trophy and I don't even know what I did right.
Just go online, look it up.
The joys of playing imports. But before we close this out, we should definitely touch upon the new generation that's coming up. I guess we should go into the Wii U since that's the system that's on deck right now. I mean, any overall thoughts on the system? I'll put this out there. I bought a Wii U about 8 months ago, actually. I bought one. I liked the features that the system had, and I got a Tekken Tag Tournament on the system. But really outside of that and some of the DLC games I bought, it seemed to be more of the same. I ended up selling it for the time being. I'll get another system when it goes down in price. But yeah, I really don't have much to report on it. I did improve their online strategy a bit, but you still have to use these long ass codes in order to network to people. And it's like Nintendo still doesn't seem to get it. You don't have any kind of headphone
unified
apparatus.
account.
Yeah, unified account or a headphone apparatus that you can use to direct talk to people. They want you to talk. I don't know if it has like an audible mic.
I think it has a built-in microphone in the pad.
Exactly. So it's like it has a speakerphone basically. And it's like I'm not interested in that. I want to talk directly to someone. I'm a grown-ass man. I don't need to be parented. And I know Nintendo's reasoning for doing that is that they want to make sure that kids do not talk to strangers or some shit. Like the kids don't talk to people unsupervised. And it's like I'm not a child, so I don't need that. Give me an option with this system. Don't railroad me into your totalitarian ways. So I had a few issues with that system after buying it, and I was like, I can do without the system for now, so I sold it. And
yeah, I've got a problem with that system too.
Yeah, go for it.
The fact that I'm playing more virtual console games on it than actual Wii U games.
That's not a bad. That wouldn't be a bad thing if it wasn't for my personal problem with it, which is the unified account problem. Yeah. Because again, like I've always said, my main problem with it in the Nintendo consoles currently is the fact that you don't have unified accounts. So technically, if I really want to, I could. Hypothetically speaking, I could fly down to Australia, get a jackhammer or some type of wrench, bash in Varnis's Wii U, and he would have to get a new Wii U.
You gotta be a dick.
And be a dick, yes. And Nintendo's policy is if you want to play those games again, you have to buy them again.
Which is scumbag. Which is real scumbag. It's like, no unified account, so you can't prove that you bought something beforehand. And it sucks. It's like the thought process on this whole online approach is so backwards ass. It's unreal. I don't know what to say about Nintendo except for they need to get their shit straightened. Otherwise, they already are losing this generation of consoles, and the other two systems haven't even come out yet.
Yeah. So, they're using the past generation. In
defense of the Wii U, the other consoles haven't come out yet, but they could just do just as badly depending on how things go, okay? Especially since both the PS4 and the Xbox One are coming out a week against each other.
They are, the 15th and the 22nd of November.
Yeah, so anything could go wrong and anything can go right at this point. So let's put things in perspective just a little bit. Yeah. But yeah, Nintendo's got a lot of problems with that. For right now, it feels like while you can have multiplayer for like third-party developer games, like for example, it's getting Watch Dogs on the game, which is good.
Which is very good.
Which leads into the other problem I was talking about with the Wii U. Are the developers going to get? Is their technology going to develop so far that they would have to really tone down their third-party games just to put them on the Wii U, or will they just become so incompatible that in order for them to toe down, would they lose money to do that? And then will they just say, well, fuck it, we can't afford that?
Well, I mean, to sort of answer it in certain ways, I mean, the Arkham game, because they have like an armored edition or whatever gimmick they're putting out for the Wii U. Like even that has frame rate issues. Like that's a current gen game, as much as we want to call it. I mean, yeah, sure. Watch Dogs is technically still going to be a current gen game. But,
well, there's current gen versions and there's next gen versions.
Yeah, I mean, like that's.
And I'm worried about the Wii U version. Is that just going to be a port of the PS3 and 360 version?
Chances are.
Are the PS4 and the Xbox One, are those just going to be the PC versions? That's what I'm getting at with that console, and I'm kind of worried about that. I feel that's really what it comes down to, and it looks like it's going to be the Wii all over again.
It's in a weird kind of purgatory state where it looks a little bit better than the Xbox 360 and in some cases the PS3 with some of its technology built into it. But yeah, it's not going to be much better than them, and it's going to get completely trounced by the new systems coming out. freaking Tsunami even says that pre-orders for each of the the PS4 and the Xbox One are higher than the total of Wii U's sold in the U.S. So it's like, holy fuck.
Yeah, but on the flip side of that, and again, I'm going to defend the Wii U. Like, there are those people who probably pre-order, but probably will not pick it up, and probably won't pick it up until like I don't know next year. So I think it's just one of those cases. But I understand what he's getting at. But still, it comes down to the games and the software. Still, there are still games. Like I remember there was a report coming out for Revelitons, if you want to call it that, but really Resident Evil Revelations HD remits. Is the fact that both the Xbox 360 and the PS3 and the PC versions sold way more than the Wii U version. The Wii U version only sold just above 8,000 copies.
Good God.
Yeah.
Damn, that's low bottom. That's bottom dollar right there. Jesus.
Yeah, so it's really difficult to say with the Wii U, and I feel, and it has exclusives. I'm not denying it. And I'm not even going to talk about the first party exclusive, but I'm talking about third party, like Bayonetta, Sonic Lost Worlds, which Sobro actually saw me play when he was down here in yeah, and I've actually played it, and it does look nice. It's a really good game, and it's actually probably the best Sonic game. At least they're consistent with that series now. At least Sega's consistent with that series. But but it's beyond that. After this holiday season, it's going to be a rush for everything. So I don't really know where this generation is going to go in terms of everything's new launch.
Yeah, we don't even know if the Wii might even might even just get discontinued even in 2015 or 16, and it might just try for something else or whatever. I don't know, but because it's got something.
And Wonderful 101. Thank you, Tsunami.
Yeah, but I have that game and I still have not even played it yet because I have no intention of doing it right now.
Wow.
It's a weird. That was just a really bad time to come out the same at the week as Grand Theft Auto. Just really bad timing.
That would beat any game down. Jeez, man. That game has wowed the world at this point, man.
Are we talking about GTA 5?
GTA 5, yeah. GTA 5 is blowing up every spot.
It's definitely wow in Australia. God damn it.
I think someone said that in 3 days it outsold every Wii U software that is out.
What?
Yep.
Yeah.
Combined.
1 billion.
Yeah. But yeah, it already outsold within 3 days, which is
nuts. Holy shit.
Out of all the Wii U software that is out, it's sad.
Wow.
Well, on the flip side, on the other side, it's also on a console that people are more familiar with now.
Yeah.
And
multiple consoles. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there. There's so many. Yeah, there's like asterisks all over the place when it comes to this stuff. And it's,
and it's like you said, we're all like really in that weird generation because I mean we're getting to a point where we're actually starting to use terms like cross-generational titles now.
That's true.
Yeah, because we even got Assassin's Creed 4 coming out for all those consoles like PS3 and 360 and PS4 and Xbox One, as well as eventually PC and
if you're Rayman Legends, also on like portable titles as well.
Yeah,
they're kind of making it like at least. What I'm really appreciating from people like Ubisoft, where they're making it approachable, where even if you do get it for the current gen consoles, it's like by the time it eventually comes out for the next gen stuff, that it's pretty much an easy transition. It's like $10 for most of them.
One thing I will say about Nintendo is that they've definitely got hands down winning in the portable market.
Oh yes,
they don't do that.
But I mean, that's all there is to it. They're making more money on the 3DS more than they are on the Wii U.
And they're probably making more money on that 2DS as well.
Yeah, man,
just from the kids.
Yeah. Even though, despite the fact that I think it's it's stupid. Yeah, I'm not going to deny that it's going to sell.
You can't stop Monster Hunter, bro.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, that shit is.
Nor can you stop Pokemon.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's got access to game series that will keep it going for time to time. Nintendo's sitting on a huge amount of money, so they can afford to make mistakes. But I certainly hope that if the Wii U doesn't work out for them, that their next system, they take time with it, B, it blows the roof off of the other two companies in terms of competition, and that they cater to not only independent game companies, but also to third-party game makers, so that way they can have the ability to come up with impressive killer apps for their system. Because I kind of want to see a golden age of Nintendo return. They kind of always raised the bar when it came to when it came to just the standard of gaming, basically. And they tried to do it with the Wii, and they fell on their face a little bit as the Wii turned out to be kind of a joke.
Well, I think with the Wii, we can all agree that the whole idea of motion gaming. I mean, motion gaming still exists today, but not to the degree what the Wii was trying to do, and we can kind of all agree it was kind of a fad.
Yeah. Well, the thing I love about Nintendo is that it is a company that's birthed from gaming. So I want them to stay in the industry because their main concern is going to be about making games. The other two companies, Microsoft and Sony, they come from kind of more of a technological standpoint. So they're getting into the gaming industry because they know they can provide a gaming platform for people. But their heart, I don't see, is in it as much as, say, Nintendo's heart would be. So I'm hoping that, and I hope a lot, but I'm hoping Nintendo gets their head out their ass. They get new management, and then they finally come up with a console that's going to be appealing to third-party developers and hardcore gamers and casual people too. But they should be a second thought, man. Your hardcore audience is always going to back you up if you make games for them. So you got to cater to them first, as far as I'm concerned.
Because I think like with Nintendo, you always buy Nintendo consoles for Nintendo games, while we don't like how many people go out and buy Sony consoles for Sony games.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I guess I'm the odd one here.
That's the thing. Like even and it's what's great about it, and it's great in a kind of weird sense, is that everything has become so streamlined that at least relatively streamlined, where there is so fewer games that are just exclusive to some of these consoles that you can pretty much get in whatever you feel like it. And nowadays, even more so with me, I've gotten through most of my stuff through the PC. Mm-hmm. I have been a part of the PC Master Race for some for at least a couple of years, and it was not a while before it was just a little while ago when I actually started more adapt to wanting to get more stuff. But that's because they have gotten to the point where everything feels right, where everything can work and functionally as well as any other home console that you have. So stuff like Saints Row the third or something like that works so well on the PC that it's the version to get.
Yeah, I'm starting to transition that way myself. I built myself a PC just recently. I know Varnis did as well. So PC's now become an option for a lot of people. But what were you gonna say?
I was just saying, like my strategy with my PC was basically I looked at both the next gen consoles for Sony and Microsoft. I said, okay, what are their specs going to be? And I basically said, okay, whatever they are, I'll double it, and that way.
You'll future-proof yourself for 2 generations.
Hell yes, that's exactly how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah, so I'll prepare for two. Not am I prepared for 2 generations, but basically when I say like because I'm getting both of those consoles as well, so it's like, okay, I know damn well that if I'm ever in a conversation about brand loyalty or whatnot, I just say, look, man, I'm not on either side. I'm having the best of all worlds at this point.
You're future-proof for like 40 years. No, I'm just kidding. More like 2 months.
Yeah, the problem I have with PC gaming is that you have to really know what to get.
Yeah.
With the system, and you have to have money to burn. Granted, it's like Fusion. Once you got it going, you can keep it going for at least a little while, for a pretty long time. That's usually how I apply what I like to apply video games like Fusion. Once you get it going, it keeps going, paying for itself after a while.
Shout outs to Tsunami. I wanted to clarify something. When I say I built a PC, I bought the parts, but
Show built it.
Show fucking built it. Yes.
Oh,
Show is Shinjuku Station's PC builder. I'm not. I take his word as gold. He puts.
Not only that, you bought a Zeta and made him put it together.
Oh yeah, I'll never live that down.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie either, Sobro. Like I basically did the same thing where my friend was like, "Hey, here's the things that I probably would get for like a." He literally showed me at work. It's like, "Here's the different pieces that I probably would get if I want to get like a good gaming rig." I'm like, "Okay, let me check that out. Can you send that to me?" And I just bought all of that.
Yeah.
And then I more or less got most of it together and went to like towards the very end. I was like, "Hey, dude, can you help me out?" And that's about it. But other than that, like the PC that I'm actually technically talking to you right now is all me. Like I'm for the most part. So it's. Yeah, I don't feel as like even I'm like a little bit. Yeah, I still needed some help.
Well,
it was my first PC I built.
Nice.
I find with PC gaming as well, like I find that it's useful for people who have multimedia, who want to be super diversible. Like you guys all run shows and do streaming, for example. So I feel in PC that's actually worthwhile, but that's not everybody does that. I mean, for me, myself, I've never been interested in that kind of gaming. I understand that PC's going to be here to stay. PC's a viable source, and because of things like Steam, it's very easy to get games. My problem with Steam is that I still have this tendency to buy games by physical means, essentially. The only problems I've always had with PC gaming before Steam is that I noticed that with physical games for PC, you would have to put in codes.
Right.
Like I guess you could say the precursor to online passes, basically.
But then,
so
with Steam nowadays, man, I gotta give it up to Valve, man. Valve has helped to console-fy PC gaming, and they have made it so that you can have an account, buy games off their network for cheaper than you would on the consoles, and made just the transition in gaming on PC just a whole lot easier. Tsunami brought up that Valve announced a press conference, and they might be announcing a Steam box on Monday.
That has been out there for a while now, so
Really?
it wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, no, the idea of the Steam box.
The theory, yeah, the word.
It's been.
And I think that's a good transition of what's going to come up in the future, or what seems to be forming up. And I want to bring up the what a lot of people are kind of referring to as the what was it called again? The micro console, essentially.
Yeah.
Which is based. Yes, the Ouya, or the Ooh, the Ooh.
Ouya.
Ooh yeah, dig it. Yeah, Elizabeth.
Nice. If only he was still around to be the spokesman, man. This is what was sold off the shelf.
Yes, the Ouya is the tower of the power that's too sweet to be sour. Nice. Funky like a monkey. Sky's the limit and space the place.
Woo, man.
Yeah, and I know, and I think the idea of a micro console actually works well. I mean, the Ouya had a good concept. The problem is that it was way too open. Like, it's an Android-based thing, so it technically should be easier to make games for it, but it's also easier to break into it, essentially.
And kind of
most people who I know who own it don't use it for anything other than emulating classic games.
Right.
So, but the idea still works, and I guess Sony's trying to get in on the idea of a micro console with itself by revealing the PlayStation Vita TV, and I can at least see myself buying it, but I'm buying it for older retro games, and because the thing is like $100 and it's no bigger than a deck of cards. Mm-hmm. So micro consoles I could see working, but you have to get things sort of like on live, which I think is the future, where you have cloud computing doing the complex calculations on a cloud for you to play it on any given device, which is what I think Sony's trying to do with the PlayStation Vita TV. Mm-hmm. If they can get Gaikai to work, if you can buy a PlayStation Vita TV and be able to play your PS1, your PlayStation Vita, your PSP games, your PS2 games, and hypothetically your PS3 games, I think that would really sell. It's all about having an amazing library. But the problem is with that, you have to have that Gaikai experience. Ouya started it, and I think it was a good idea.
Yeah.
But the problem with it is that it's very easy to break into, and nobody really was able to figure out what they could do with it. Whereas with the PlayStation Vita TV, mm-hmm. Sony's actually gone out of their way to tell you what you can do with it. And it basically is a PS4 extender. You can actually remote play your PS4 games on that PlayStation Vita TV. So hypothetically, I could link it up to my PlayStation 4, and I can be downstairs in my living room playing the PS4, and when I go upstairs and about to go to bed, I could still play my PS4 game using a DualShock 3.
Look at you.
They just recently showed that at TGS, so it is possible.
Welcome to the future, George Jetson.
We're getting to that point.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
And I think the micro console more than anything is going to be the future.
Well, speaking of cloud gaming, that brings us into the PS4 and the Xbox One. They're both going to implement features of cloud gaming of some sort with Gaikai, as you mentioned, and I forget what they call it on the the Xbox One, but
it's just the cloud.
Just the cloud.
It
literally is just that, the cloud.
Yeah, I mean, I take it that have you guys pre-ordered the new consoles yet, or at least either one of them at all?
I had a pre-order down, and I still have a pre-order down, but I don't think I'm going to pick it up again until Second Son drops way back in February or something.
Yeah.
I'm getting. I have a PS4 pre-order set up. I'm getting closer to the point of like I think I may just have it. I think I'll just pick it up day one. And I think this is like the first time in a while since I've actually decided to actually pick up something day one. I think with 360 was the last one. Yeah, it was. This is a thing where like there's a lot there already that I'm like, okay, I'm at least fascinated in it. I want to see, but the thing is, there's stuff like Gaikai and all this stuff. Like I still need to see it more in action. At least
I've as I've always said, like I don't think you should be buying any of the like a PS4 if you want Gaikai. The idea is good, but I'm basing my decision on games right now. Yeah. Gaikai is great.
That's a smart way to go.
If it works. Because if it works, I think it basically will become the Netflix of video games.
Oh.
If what they say is true and it works that way.
That's the thing. Like all this stuff, it's a lot of hearsay right now. Like on both sides. I think what they've shown from both sides, at least, there's enough for me to like, okay, both systems are at least competent. Even with all the rollbacks that I've gotten with Microsoft, it's good. It's consistent-ish. At least is what I'm supposed to expect. But there's still stuff out there that I'm still not entirely sure. I want to see more of it out there. And like, I mean, it is the idea where like it's the same with the PS3, whereas like I'm willing to buy in for the potential. That's kind of where I'm going with the PS4. I want to eventually get a Xbox One still. I feel like down the line I will waste more electricity by having both of them plugged in at the same time. But like it is just it will be a thing. Like there's still stuff out there that I want for both systems, and it is this thing where like I'm willing to trade for one thing as opposed to the other. But even though like eventually you'll get one. I want to play Killer Instinct. I do want to try out Titanfall. There's stuff out there that even that are like, oh, I want to legit play some of these games, and I know from what I believe, or at least what they are telling me, that the best experience is through this through the system. Okay, fine. I'll eventually check it out. I mean, if not, whatever. Titanfall is going to come on the PC, so I'll buy that.
But isn't Titanfall like tied to Origin though? EA's Origin.
From what I know, it is. Yeah.
I will suffer through it if I have.
Oh Jesus!
I've already gone through that for Mass Effect, so what the hell not?
Well, okay. I know we're running a little running a little past the runtime, so I just want to know what you guys' last thoughts on the upcoming generation, what you're looking forward to the most, or anything that you hope not to see with this next generation of systems. I'll start off with Varnis.
Again, I'm interested to see how both consoles handle, cloud computing, and how because like more than just like providing games, it's also talking about how it can like improve gameplay. Like even with what was it, Forza, how they were gonna have like AI drivers powered by the cloud.
Drivatars.
Drivatars.
That's a Microsoft term, not
it
me.
is. I actually recall that after you said it. It's like that's so dumb. But go ahead, Varnis. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, it's like it's like, because I don't think I've ever done anything with a cloud before, and I think if I get to see it, it's gonna be something that's either awesome or just completely, gets off on only some people's. But I'm just excited to see if they do what they do, and I'm also excited that they'll be able to do streaming straight off the bat on both consoles. So, yeah.
As Tsunami writes, Netflix equals Hulu for Soul, bro. I guess I'm gonna get my stream on with this next gen.
The funny thing is, like, for you, Sober, I can see a Vita TV working best for you because that's basically what it is, really. It's meant to really be streaming all that stuff. Like, it will have a Hulu and it will have a Netflix and YouTube thing. So, like, hypothetically, if you really want something, a stream bots essentially, that the Vita TV probably be best because it has an a proven older game library, but it also has your streaming capabilities you want. The only problem with it outputs at 1080 at 720p as opposed to 1080p. It does 1080p.
Wow.
But that's the only problem I see with it if you're a resolution whore.
I'm not really, but
unless you name a show where you gotta have your 4K screen resolution.
Wow, he has one.
This guy's ridiculous. He's got 3 monitors and he streams with the 3 monitors.
You're downright serious. He has a 4K TV.
No, he doesn't have 4K. Well, no. But he's got 3. Well, he's got an expensive TV, but he's also when he streams with the vision of being on 3 monitors. So yeah, he's got a crazy resolution on his stream. If you ever go to twitch.tv/Shoji Ramaro, if you look at the archives, you'll see how he streams, and it's nuts.
I caught him during a stream one time when he was playing, and okay, that makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah.
You got it. But yeah. Any other thoughts, Varnis?
I just hope that all I want is balance. I just want balance.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I agree in full. Dalo, any thoughts to take us home? I know you wanted to talk a little bit about the Atlas buyout from Sega.
Well, I'll talk about my hopes for the future. I'll keep that short. Is that I want the streaming to be accessible as bandwidths get better, because I think that is really what a lot of people want. And I basically just want to be sure that I have good games that function well. I don't need to get everything at 60 frames per second, but I will say that yes, you should have games that have consistent frame rates.
I would hope so, yeah.
So I will say that much.
Here's looking at you, Grand Theft Auto 5.
Well, you can buy Grand Theft Auto 6 and you'll be happy. I'm sure.
Man, when it comes out on PC, we get consistent frames then.
Yeah,
let's hope so.
God dang, I can't wait for the PC version of 5 to come out on that. I'll be picking that up myself. That game looks awesome.
Well, they already have a product for that. It's called Grand Theft Auto 4.
No, I suppose you're right.
It's funny how that's become a meme in itself.
Wow.
But yeah, just better streaming, consistent frame rates, and I just would like just good game, just some consistently good games, because I understand that I'm probably going to get bombarded by ports, by PC ports, because the PS4 is going to be running on PC architecture essentially, and I'm kind of used to that with my PlayStation Vita. I've been getting a lot of console ports, but at least with my console ports on my Vita, at least they're portable. It's a new experience I can just take with me. On the PS3, on the PS4, if I'm getting console PC ports, I'll be fine with it. I just hope that there are people who are willing to put out exclusives just for the PS4. And I know there are companies that are doing that. If you listen to the rumors, and it's happening now with what I like to call the Titanfall equivalent to the PS4, which is Deep Down, but made by Capcom. And I'm looking forward to that, if only because I've recently gotten into Demon's Souls. And I'm really, really interested in that, because that basically looks like Demon's Souls and plays really well. So
and it's not me. No one is going to talk about the N-Gage ever on this stream.
Oh yeah,
never.
Somebody wants this N-Gage discussion.
I had 1 point wanted.
I will talk about the N-Gage. It existed, and at one point I knew somebody who had it but never played it.
Hey man, you know what? Ironically, big time gaming's happening on phones now. And N-Gage was ahead of its time, I guess. Except it didn't have a touch screen, so it was still doomed to fail. But,
Yeah.
But Doc, man, any closing thoughts, sir?
Yeah, I think I want to continue what I've been doing lately, at least during this late run of the consoles, is never to have to buy a physical copy ever again.
Wow, I'm actually down for that. I would not want to stand in line.
I'm not. As much as I like digital distribution, I'm not quite there yet. But I understand. I understand that future's coming. I won't deny that.
No,
but then again, with digital distribution, I'm tending to buy smaller games, like indie games, essentially.
Well, that's the thing. It's already here. It's Steam.
You're right about that.
But, that's the thing.
But I'm not a console. But I'm not a PC person. So I guess I just don't understand.
That's the thing where there's a different discussion altogether, and it'll take longer. It's just like weird.
Yeah. I don't want to get into that, and I've already said that PC has its advantages, and I understand that people will like PC. That's why I'm not demonizing it in any way.
I know, but there is a level of condescension happening. That's a problem.
Yeah, I know. But that's a conversation that's been around long before we've had this discussion.
Yeah, no, that's the problem. Like that's even though I know, but it is a thing where I'd rather just not have to worry about it. Like if I know I will have an account that's verified, that is secure, that I know for sure is mine. And I'm looking at you, Nintendo. That I can know that I will be able to have a library of stuff that eventually, that way I don't have to worry about shelf space. I mean, I can still get a physical thing. That's why, even with the whole Xbox One debacle, the idea of not necessarily needing a physical copy was still intriguing. I still was fine with that. There's a lot of other things that were wrong with it, but that aspect of it was fine for me. Yeah, I won't be able to physically trade in stuff. I won't be able to physically let people borrow it, but there are ideas happening here. Steam is starting up their family program. That is what they were initially trying to go with on the Xbox One. Now, I think a little bit more easier to understand, at least now with Steam, which is, again, they're making all the right moves. Everyone's making the right moves right now, but at least I want to get to this point where I can have a library somewhere out there. I can play whenever I want, and if I can allow people to have access to it, cool, that's great. But luckily we're in this generation, at least in this next coming generation, where physical still matters. It's still there, and I know I can always get back to it. I know that I can still get physical copies of anything. It's no big deal, but know that I don't have to put on pants just to be able to buy something. Is really I was contemplating for this entire week, where I literally am looking at the day one digital thing, which is great implementation with Sony side on the PS3 of I can download the new GTA right now without a problem. I can have it in my console. I have space, no big deal, because I don't mind putting it on a hard drive. And I can play it right then and there. It will after finish downloading and so yeah, jokes. But that's where I'm I want there to be somewhat of a reasonable, if not similar, kind of idea on every console that is out there, whether it be I know that at least with the Wii and the Wii in Nintendo side, they're at least more or less trying to give a digital available game out there.
Well, as of right now, you can buy Wind Waker on HD on the Wii U 2 weeks before it even comes out.
Yeah, things like that. They're at least getting close to a good ideal eventually. Obviously, the problem with it is the not having it technically be quote yours, because in case something breaks, you're shit out of luck. But at least we're getting close to that. It'll take some Nintendo a little bit more time to understand what the internet is, and I'm waiting for that, and I hope it comes soon. And with the rollout of the new systems, knowing that I don't have to worry too much about the stuff, and with the stuff like PlayStation Plus, that I know that this stuff I'm gonna have a backlog of stuff that I can play day one. I don't have to worry about anything. And eventually, obviously stuff will add up if I don't. And it's a thing where the main reason why I was even hesitant to getting PS Plus was because most of the games that come out free, I have already finished playing. I already own them, so it's just I don't need it right now. It's maybe for the future. And now I'm kind of forced to, because I need to for me to play online with other
Yeah,
people.
which is why the kind of the argument it goes to the other side, because I did mention, like, for people who aren't already part of the service, I've noticed that people who are already in the service, once the announcement came out for multiplayer, a lot of us didn't really bat an eye because we're already invested in the system, but we're not buying it for online play. We're buying it so we can actually sample games. That's our main thing with it. With people who aren't, it's a little harder. So I understand that process.
Yeah, and hopefully, we get to this point where, like, hey, you can literally play like a 10-minute trial of a full game, and if you really want to have it, boom, it's unlocked. Pay the $50, you go.
Well, they already have that on PlayStation Plus.
I know, that's why. Like, I want that to be as as streamlined as possible.
To be on everything, essentially.
I wanted like a standardization of that. I think like everyone has great ideas as to what they want from their system. Yeah. I just want like a good mishmash of everything.
I can't blame you on that. I think that's a pretty good idea. Yeah, I know when it comes to me, I really just want the online features of these systems to continue to grow. I do want to be able to buy games digitally. Tsunami brings up a great point. If they're going to make it available digitally, we should get them at Steam prices. I don't think the console manufacturers are going to let us have it at Steam prices, but I think buying them digitally should at least save us, at least from the get-go, $10 from the get-go, and then hopefully...
I'll mention something currently right now, especially in this whole year.
Yeah.
Which is with the PlayStation 3, or at least with the Sony titles. Essentially, they've discounted a lot of their games from their normal retail prices of $60 down to $40.
Uh-huh.
Like when I bought Sly Cooper 4 earlier in the year, and I bought Puppeteer. Those were $40 games. They were not the normal $60 retail. Oh. So. Kudos to I will give shout-outs to them at least, because they've actually discounted a lot of their games. Like, the only one that didn't get discounted like that was The Last of Us.
Right.
And I think that's only because of it's because it's Naughty Dog and everybody was willing to pay that much. But a lot of their games that they did put out, a lot of their first-party games, they've discounted heavily on. So, as opposed to everybody else, a lot of those games were still like $60 and $45.
Well, all I know is I'm tired of paying crack prices for my games, man. I'm tired.
Well, again, it comes on to the flip side of, like, we're adults now. We're actually having to pay for our own drugs.
Very true. Very true. One other thing, you guys raised great points and echoed pretty much a lot of my sentiment. But one other thing I found out did worry me about the PlayStation 4 specifically. Sony wants to implement some kind of HDCP. Protection all over all their games and whatnot, so it makes it very hard to stream or capture footage from the games. I understand when it comes to Blu-rays and movies and shit like that, or streaming from streaming services capturing TV shows and shit like that. I completely understand that, but when it comes to gaming, come on, man. They know that features, the services out there where people post up gaming footage like YouTube and people stream like Twitch. And I know that PS4 has a deal going with Ustream right now, and I guess they want people to exclusively use that. But I think about all the people who cover
Well, it's also
gaming.
it's also on Twitch as well.
So Sony also has a deal with Twitch as well.
Yeah, you can use the PS4 to go stream on Twitch.
Good stuff.
I mean, they announced that at Gamescom this last year.
But I believe they also announced that there is a capture throughput as well, so you can actually capture out the PS4.
Well, as long as they don't make it hard for us to do so, because I already know with my PS3, it has HDCP on it completely, so I have to use a HDCP stripper to remove the copy protection. But they need to make it easier so that we can actually do that, and that goes for Microsoft too. They actually took steps to implement HDCP on the newer models of the 360. But they know people like to capture gaming, and it's part of the social aspect of gaming to share your footage and to create content based on that. And I want to make sure that these new consoles don't take strides to make it even harder for us to do this, because I know of all the cats on YouTube that cover gaming as a whole in on an independent manner, like people like Angry Joe.
I wouldn't know. I don't watch Angry Joe.
I love me some Angry Joe, but cats like him. You know, he's independent for the most part, and I would like to get into doing more of that as well. And I already stream, so I don't want it to be harder for me to do so on the next gen. So I know they made it easy in some respects, but I still want to use my PC to capture and record gaming. I don't want my system to do it alone. So as much as I like the fact that those new systems do streaming on their own, and that's fine, I still want to have the same kind of access to streaming like I do with my current consoles. So I'm hoping to find that will be the case when the next generation rolls out. And before we close out this episode, Dalo, you wanted to bring up the Atlas purchase from Sega?
Yeah, I wanted to bring it up as a bonus topic because of the fact it recently just happened, and it was like one of the biggest. I picked a heck of a week to take a break from Twitter. So that's for sure.
You did.
But
with TGS happening, come on now.
Yeah, when I said I took a break, I actually forgot that TGS was going to happen. I thought it was like the week after. But yeah, like I wanted to bring that up because we've on this community of podcasts we talked about Sega a couple times, so I think it only appropriate just to bring it up for a little bit. So I'm just kind of curious about like how do you guys think it would the things that would happen basically with that. I wanted to start with Varnis because I know he's like the biggest Atlas fan here, more so than even me.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, if I'm because I'm also on a podcast with a big Atlas follow-up, but yeah, a lot of the community that I'm following right now is like they're all worried about it because like Sega's recently hasn't been localizing a lot of their games, and they're worried that it'll affect Atlas as well. But my comeback to that is like, well, Atlas has already been localizing their own games even before the buyout, so I don't see how they can't already do it even with this purchase from Sega. So, and it's more in the sense that they really needed to buy Atlas really needed to only be bought if only because they're too small of a company to actually do that stuff on their own. Yeah. And because like that was the thing, like
they're not like Activision where they can buy themselves out.
Yeah, exactly. and it was a case where the company that owned them, Index, that they fought themselves over, so they had to let Atlas go and be with somebody else. So that was the whole thing. So I think Atlas is going to do just fine. Like even in the next 3 to 5 years, they do just fine.
Mm-hmm. Not too bad. I mean, I personally think it might be a positive move because they could use the backing, just as you mentioned. But I don't know exactly where the future might hold for them. Atlas has been doing pretty good, though. I mean, I'm concerned because I've grown to like the Persona series thanks to the anime and the fighting game. And also Atlas handles American releases for certain fighting games I do like KOF 13. And if they're going to continue to produce publish other KOFs here in the States, then it involves my interest as well. So I'm hoping it works out well for them. Anybody else's thoughts?
I'm just glad that they weren't bought by either Nintendo, Sony, or Microsoft.
Yeah.
For that reason, because it's like, admittedly, as somebody who liked Sony, I was saying I don't want a first-party developer to buy them. They need to stay third-party so that everybody can benefit them. Like you said, Sobro, without Atlas, you wouldn't have any KOF games coming out to the West.
You're right about that.
So. That was my feeling about it. I'm glad. I just hope Sega actually utilizes Atlas to localize some of their other games that they have. Like they just announced that Phantasy Star Nova for PlayStation Vita. They didn't have necessarily any plans for it. I'm just hoping that Atlas, maybe Sega will let Atlas localize that particular game, because Atlas, half its business is publishing games.
Yeah,
that's half its game. It's not just developing games; it's publishing those games on platforms. That's half their business.
To me, they're even though they don't put out as much swag as this previous company did, to me, they've always seemed to be the heir apparent to working designs. They've put out a lot of great RPGs and localized a lot of great games, over the last couple of years, and I don't want to see that come to an end now that they're bought out by Sega. So that's a very good point to bring up, man. I certainly hope that doesn't change.
Yeah, I just want them to actually utilize that company because Sega's not my first pick for Atlas. Mm-hmm. If I had to pick somebody, I would have picked Kadokawa Games in Japan because they're trying to break into the video game industry at this point. They just announced some new video games right now. So I'm just hoping that with Sega that they leave Atlas alone. But on the flip side around, Sega's actually just recently went for a huge restructure from E3 of last year. because all their external studios came out. I'm sure everybody knows about Mickey's Castle of Illusion. Am I right?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Right.
That was actually just recently released, and that was made by Sega Australia, and Sega Australia no longer exists anymore.
Wow, that's
weird.
So that was literally like the last thing that made that game, and a lot of their developers no longer exist anymore. They still have some, but the company really isn't anything else. I will say a positive thing for everybody out there: if Sega is doing what they're doing, which they're trying to reface themselves as a PC company, you might get more Persona games and some of those other games. You might get more PC ports. So for you guys, that's pretty good. That's my prediction, that you'll see more PC ports and ISO ports.
Not bad.
I just hope the quality just doesn't dip because of that.
Let's hope not.
Well, Doc, any thoughts on this before we go?
No. I think you guys pretty much said everything I wanted to say.
Well, man, I know I'm running late, but I definitely want you guys to plug whatever you guys have got going on. Real quick, I will start with Varnis, man. Tell people where they can find you on the internet and what they should check out in regards to your podcasting and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter as Varnis290. I also run a stream on Twitch at Varnis. Just did that. As well as I host Shin Megami Tensei Network with a few of my other Persona fans and other gamers as well, like Atlas Faithful and all that. And you can find it on iTunes, and that's also pretty much it for me. Well, I don't do much else.
Well, sir,
I'm very lazy and hard worker at the same time. I'm quite the paradox.
You are the mixed bag, sir. You're the mixed bag. Dalo, man, tell people where anything you wanted to plug or anything you wanted to let people know about.
Well, you can follow me on Twitter, which is Dolowr DOLOWR on Twitter, and I'm not going to be there until this coming Sunday, like in Southern California time, because again I'm taking a break. Nice. But once I get back on, you can see my crazy tweets and a lot. I've been meaning to put up some tweets of some of my Vita captures because that's what I do on there. But there's still some things going on in the background. Like I hope there's been a few things I've been trying to get hold on, and it's been just a bunch of crazy stuff on my side. But other than that, that's the main place you follow me. And of course, just go to MHQ and just go check out all their good stuff. Of course,
absolutely.
Because that's the main stuff right there.
Dalo does great work for us with our podcast with Gundam and Chaos Theater with acquiring guest hosts for us. So man, many thanks to all your hard work, sir, and all the specials you worked on. And thank you for coming out tonight. Same thing to Varnis and Doctor. Let people know what you do, sir, because they don't know shit.
Shit. Well, easy one right now, which is on the screen. You can follow me at SSAA Podcast, which stands for the Ass Backwards Enemy Podcast, ABS Kept Secret on the internet. You can us over at ssaapodcast.com. Subscribe to us on Stitcher and on iTunes. You can also check out Jessica Gintama Podcast over at gintamapodcast.com. Also part of our little network of podcasts that we run. Dropping the next unofficial Hunter x Hunter podcast at hxhpodcast.wordpress.com. I gotta make sure that by that URL. Let's see. Follow me there. Yeah, we're on Facebook and stuff like that. Also, follow me on this live stream thing that we pretty much have been doing now way more often than we should. So easy way to look it up. tinyurl.com/SSAA stream. You can find the page for all the stuff that we do, which is we have a Thursday show that we show different Japanese dramas. This new one we're showing called Liar, really good stuff. It's a ridiculous show about people fighting with money and having to kill each other because of money. Sort of. Think of it like Saw but with money, but it's very good. It's based off a manga. We aired the first 4 episodes. Easy. Really fun, good stuff. Check that one out. Inazuma 11 every Sunday, which is the Inazuma Challenge, which is a really dumb children's soccer show. We have our movie nights, which is pretty much more or less now become every Tuesday. We just finished watching Grave of the Fireflies. I realized cracking way and I probably should have.
Wow.
Jeez,
I need to watch that, boy. Oh my god.
What were you thinking?
I'm an asshole.
You must be.
Glorious.
He's an asshole. An asshole.
You'd be surprised. Like in the background, I'm like, oh my god, I'm tearing up, and I'm like, how can I make this funny? I can't. Let me try my best. But it's a very good movie. We're gonna be showing another movie called Killer Virgin Road, which is a Japanese live action movie on Tuesday, which is going to be a recurring thing. Also, you can find me on Twitch pretty much every Wednesday. I try to get some video gaming on every Wednesday, twitch.tv/Professor Doc. And that's everything. If you happen to catch me on Monday, I do like a little Crunchyroll thing.
The Crunch Time, yeah.
Yeah, Crunch Time with Doc.
Hell yes.
Where I just go through my Crunchyroll queue and try to finish as many animes as possible before I have to watch wrestling because I am a child.
No, you're not. That's man stories, son. Come on.
Man children.
Man stories.
Well, nothing but man children. Trust me, the demographic is kind of sad. But it's mainly children. But anyway, so that's pretty much it. You can find our archives on there. Try to get them as quickly as possible because they're gonna go away after a month because live stream is shit.
It is. It's turning out to be worse.
It wasn't shit. It's just gotten shittier.
Yeah,
it's gotten shittier. But you can at least try to catch that Space Jam archive as quick as you can.
Sweet.
I'm not gonna be able to do that ever again. But yeah, Grave of the Fire. If you want to check our archive for Fireflies, I was shocked at myself. I was like, I am going to hell. Good stuff on there, and check out some of the other stuff that we have on there. I think the Queen's Classroom is a really good drama. Everyone should check out. But if you can't, check out our Liar Game thing because we were just watching it and just enjoying it because it's a very fun show. That's everything I need to plug right now. So that's it.
Well, man, thank you for being on. What's that?
I was saying, go watch Inazuma 11. That shit is awesome.
Hell yeah, that show is the shit. Many thanks for you coming out tonight too, sir. You're a podcasting champion, and all of you guys, man, you rocked it tonight. I'm Sober Ryu, of course. You know where to find me. And also next week, we're not going to do a barbecue night on Friday. We're actually doing it on Sunday. Just to let you guys know, we're actually doing a live stream of the Breaking Bad finale, and then afterwards we're going to be talking about it. So there'll be a whole list of people on that episode, and we'll be doing a live call-in on Skype and just pretty much talking about how mind-fucked we are at the finale of that show. So if you're watching Breaking Bad and you want to be a part of that conversation, come on out to this live stream channel on Sunday night of next week, and we'll get down with some Breaking Bad discussion. It'll be myself and Lee Majors watching it live. You won't see the stream on the stream, but you'll be able to hear it. So if you're on the East Coast, you'll be able to pretty much watch it with us. And then we'll dive into that post-conversation, man. It's going to be nuts. But shout out to everybody who came to watch the show live today and those who are watching it on YouTube and the archive here on live stream.
Especially you had to suffer for live stream. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And Tsunami, I saw that you mentioned that no HTTP on games set at TGS. Okay, cool. So
yeah. I remember that was a big thing that came up. I was trying to find the article, but I do know they said that.
And they done fucked it up. That's right, Angry Joe. But that's it for what's that?
I just wanted to spam gifs now,
yes.
like
Quick rage.
Nice. But we'll be back next week, next Sunday, for more barbecue night. In the meantime, enjoy being set free by Colonel Gal. We'll see you guys later.
Narukami the Hedgehog.
So it's been a lot of fun, but, well, I guess that's all.
Troopers, I just received new orders. our superiors say the war is canceled. We can all go home. Bison is getting paid off for his crimes. And our friends who have died here will have died for nothing. But we can all go home. Meanwhile, ideals like peace, freedom, and justice, they get packed up. But we can all go home. Well, I'm not going home. I'm gonna get on my boat, and I'm going upriver, and I'm going to kick that son of a bitch Bison's ass so hard that the next Bison wannabe is gonna feel it. Now, who wants to go home, and who wants to go with me?